Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Disclaimer! Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit education or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This video was made for entertainment purposes and is transformative in nature.
Okay, who else has a comment? Over here?
If it's about discrimination as well, where do other races fall into all this, such as the Hispanic community or the Asian community? Do they get, monetary value as well? Or is it more focused on just, one community?
Hey, John, what do you want us to take away from this extraordinary series of yours?
Well, I want people who are not Latin to have Latin envy and wish they had been born Latin, and for Latin people to realize, damn, being Latin is a superpower, man. I mean, the things that we've suffered in this country, 500 years, our wealth was stolen from us. We were lynched. We were burned, shot alive. We've been the only American citizens that have ever been deported by the millions, and yet we contribute and we build and we thrive.
Doing a great job with the heartbeats.
You late again, Eddie.
I know what you've been trying to do. You ain't gonna do it. See, Big Red done pulled my coattail to you a long, long time ago.
That's bullshit, Eddie. You talking crazy.
Crazy like a mother fox. And you, I can see through your jive ass like glass, nigga.
Eddie, you got it all wrong, man.
Stealing my moves, my style, nigga. Even trying to riff like me.
Hey, man, why don't you get your boy out of here and detox him?
You want my spot flash? Slum-dwelling, scum-sucking, slug-ass motherfucker. You want my spot flash? Huh? Well, you ain't gonna get it. Because you ain't got it.
Various groups, feminist, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the black civil rights experience. Yes. What do you mean by that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that because I think it's one of the most important points of the book. I mean, I think the way liberals have treated blacks like children and many of their policies have been harmful to blacks. At least they got the beneficiary group right. We do have to, we shouldn't. There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortions, but or gays who want to get married to one another. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. They dropped the blacks after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks. We done to the immigrants. We owe black people something. We have a legacy of slavery. Immigrants haven't even been in this country. Democrats are dropping the blacks and moving on to the Hispanics because they're a larger group of Hispanics now. But could I just say to Jorge, I hate to disagree with you when you're attacking President Obama, but I think the point on immigration is you can have open borders or you can have a welfare state. You cannot have both.
On gun rights for black Americans. Watch.
Actually, you know, funny fact is black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you on it. I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
When you are in black skin and you live in this country, then you can disagree with me, but we're not. You mentioned that we have three different shades
Don, I
of
think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open regardless of the color of our skin. The part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have
the freedoms that black and white that black people don't have. have in this country and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without
shouldn't
me
express your
regarding
views,
you as a
but I
black
think it's
man,
insulting that
but
you're
me
sitting
regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
that you're
That's what I
sitting
think we
here,
should see.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
Whatever ethnicity
about
I'm,
what it's like to be black.
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I'm, I'll tell
sorry.
you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
the content of the ideas.
And since the American white man has used his control over the press to rewrite history or retell history, and since the white man can't dispute this truth, it's not hate to say that we were kidnapped and brought here, it's truth. It's not hate to say that we were Jim Crow, discriminated and segregated, it's truth. It's not hate to say that the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in this country, came up with a hypocritical desegregation decision 9 years ago, which they haven't enforced yet. That's not hate, that's truth.
You said your people have been fighting for 400 years.
Man, your peoples too.
So I just want you to explain what you mean by that.
You know what I'm talking about. Y'all all know what I'm talking about, man. Don't sit up here and try to bait and not know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what the I talk about when I say these things. Your people too.
Explain it. Not everybody knows what you're talking about.
Radio Raheem, I don't have to explain what's understood, man. You know what I mean by that. You know what I said by that. I ain't got to go further. And if anybody don't understand that, then God be with them. Go look up the history. Go look up the history. Don't everybody believe in Google? Go Google that. See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what. I dare you to sit up there and say, explain. You know what I'm talking about, man. He's fighting people. You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. To this day. To this day. You just sit here, you don't know.
Kind of boy seems innocent, Boogie. Got everybody on the post thinking he's a strong black buck. White boys envy his strength, his speed, power in his swing. Then this colored champion lets those same white boys call him Shine or Sambo.
Whoa, Lord.
And he just smiles.
Dream about the time when I was little boy.
Can't talk.
The night would get
Can barely read or write his own name. And don't care. He'll tell you they like him. Or that colored folks ain't supposed to have but so much sense.
Yes, he would.
You know the damage one ignorant Negro can do. We were in France in the First War. We'd won decorations. But the white boys had told all them French gals that we had tails. Then they found this ignorant colored soldier. Paid him to tie a tail to his ass and run around half naked making monkey sounds. They put him on a big round table in the Cafe Napoleon. Put a reed in his hand. Crown on his head, blanket on his shoulders, and made him eat bananas in front of all them Frenchies. Oh, the white boys danced that night. Passed out leaflets with that boy's picture on it. Called him Moonshine, King of the Monkeys. And when we slit his throat, you know that fool asked us what he had done wrong. My daddy told me we got to turn our backs on his kind, Wilkie. Close our ranks to the chitlins, the collard greens, the cornbread style. We are men, soldiers. And I don't intend for our race to be cheated out of its place of honor and respect in this war because of fools like CJ. You watch everything he does. Everything.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions. behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. This is your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blow Your Minds, and this is We Up Report. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to the fam that should be in the house and everybody else that's passing by. Welcome by. But before we get into all of that, I got some thanks I must give out. First, I'm going to get to this brother here. Special thanks to True Will, again, for your cash app that you sent last show. Me and my family, as always, we thank you and yours kindly. We tip our hat to you. Another brother that came through. Another special thanks to Mr. Spencer 0620, again, for his cash app. My family and I appreciate every time and you give, and anybody who else is willing to give, we thank and tip our hat out to you, and we thank you both for your contribution on that last show. Now, let's go ahead and get into what we're going to talk about today. Now, some of you again, passerby, this is the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Been in the business so long, you ain't never heard of me. They make sure that because I can't get no impressions. Can you believe that? I can't get 100 views. It must be something I'm talking about. But anyway, welcome you over here. Hit that like, share, comment button. Do all those good things there. Now, you might have clicked over here due to the thumbnail. Got a comment here. I got Sharon Washington in the house. This is my afternoon show. I know they surprised that I came in and did this afternoon show, but you know, sometimes you're sitting around. I said, let me go ahead and do what I got to do. But you might have clicked on for the simple fact that you might have seen my thumbnail for those of you who came by. So let me go ahead and show you the thumbnail. The right to say y'all wrong. Let me say that one more again. Right to say y'all wrong. Now I know there's some of my colleagues that's part of the black media who don't like for those of us who keep having, I guess you say, rhetoric out of our mouths, speaking about the things that we see when we see people of other ethnicities and race. Again, this isn't about being divisive, but you got to always set things straight when things are not in its right place. And we've seen lately, even though it may just be from an Ethernet aspect of life, that we see people coming out here and they're saying things that's in opposition to black Americans, telling black Americans what they can say, what they cannot do. It is in their best interest for them and not what we say, but what they want. And so when we kind of see this on the regular, there's so many people who've seen the, let's say, back and forth between Don Lemon and that Vivek Ramaswamy. And I heard a lot of y'all speaking more about his bedroom activity, what he is in the genre of classification of what they call LGBT and all that other stuff. But you did not focus on the aspect of what was being said. That's the one thing I didn't see none of y'all really do. You want to critique the brother about what he do in his bed, which is his own preference. I'm not here to advocate for it. But what I'm saying is, when you have somebody that's in that position, that's willing to sit there and say the thing that is necessary, when somebody of another persuasion is trying to put us and corner us and make it seem that they're, again, if we are the people of the history that you're speaking of, you don't get to tell me what's right based on you being from somewhere else, whether you read the history or not. You don't get here to come here and tell me that my position is wrong. Let me say that one more again. You from somewhere else don't ever have the mitigated gall to get in my face and tell me about what's right, about my stance, about the plight and historical position that me and my family and people have gone through. What gives y'all that right? And is that what this whole thing was about? That we as black Americans don't have the right to tell people they're wrong from the position that they see, because they want to be the one who be, put it this way, they want to be the one who created the situation, and then they also want to be the one who in the results of it. As if we don't get to say from 1865 to now whether there has been any progress. What you get, what is it that about you that get to tell me that I can't tell you there ain't been no progress? because you can find a couple bootlick rhetorics out here, the ones that come out here that you pay for to have them to side with you, but they're a small minute when it comes to the majority of us. And many of you you shy away from it. This is the last thing we're talking about. Oh, we over this. And what about unification? And you're just being divisive. Wait a minute. Do you ask yourself, people that come from other countries that come over here, you really think they came over here to be on the fight side with you? You think when they do vetting for people to come over here that they don't already know who they are when they come over here? I'm the only show that's been over here that done told you that many of the people that come over here, if you follow that paperwork, who they came, and them people that came over here, you'll find that they may be the ones that undermined their own damn country. And yet in your mouth, you talk about those of us who will sit on the fence and say, we're not about to take that. You're not coming in my house talking crazy to me. Now, I know this is new for a lot of you, and now people don't talk to this. A lot of you think this is the angry black man. No, some of y'all just need to hear from the perspective of some people of us. We ain't playing that with y'all. Get what I'm saying? And so in this case, the right to say y'all are wrong is what ended up happening with Don Lemon. He told you was wrong about the position. And with this rhetoric that you trying to spew, and all I heard what y'all want to say is talk about him being gay, him sleeping with somebody. He part-time sometimes. Let me tell you something about bootlegs. Bootlegs is never part-time. They full-time. So anytime you got one that's dancing on the fence, he kind of confused. Sometimes the position is there, but maybe it was about the fact that it was like, well, if you ever put me in a situation that compromised me personally in front of everybody, he's going to take the stance. Instead of y'all backing that, you don't have to back him. You back what he stood on. You get what I'm saying? You back on what he stood on. Not so much about his personal life, because everybody is flawed. All of us have our differences and quirks and wrongs, right? Isn't that what they teach us? But so when somebody is in the front and now you don't have anybody, think about this. Now you don't got nobody to be in that position. Now what you gonna say? They're gonna put somebody else in there that's more corporate. Now again, I'm not telling you that everything that he said and what he did was right. But what I'm saying is when somebody of us, again, we either all in or we all out. Let me say that one more again. Either we all in behind them or we all out. Yes, you're gonna have some things we don't like. There's a lot of things. There's people who don't like me. Why you think I've been the most hated show in the Black Corner for going on 11 years? They don't like what I'm talking about. And so when you're not liked about what they're gonna say, they're gonna do everything to keep you suppressed. You get what I'm saying? How the hell can somebody been around 11 years and can't get 100 views? And you telling me that it's about what? Oh, because ain't nobody hearing you? You got 2.9 thousand people and yet can't get 100 of them. You say you send out the notifications, right? You send the notification and then I get unique viewers, but yet it never rise beyond that. What is that? Because one of them motherfuckers is sitting up in here. I said that. One of the motherfuckers is sitting up here. Every time I come on, they bum asses in here. And they here is a mandate reporter to make sure it goes no further than what it do. But it is what it is. For those who hear the message, subscribe, share, do what you got to do. Let's get into this. Now, how do many of us get this damn spirit that many of y'all are sellouts and bootleg got that damn spirit in you? It starts with stuff like this. Listen to this and be right back. King Leopold's letter to Christian missionaries. We'll say that again. King Leopold's letter to Christian missionaries. Reverends, fathers, and dear compatriots. The task that is given to fulfill is a very delicate and requires much tact. You will go certainly to evangelize, but your evangelization must inspire above all Belgium interests. The principal objective in our mission in the Congo is never to teach the niggers to know God. This they know already. They speak and submit to a Mungu or Zambi or Zakokambo. And what else? I don't know. They know that to kill, to sleep with someone else's wife, to lie, and to insult is bad. Have courage to admit it. You are not going to teach them what they know already. Your essential role is to facilitate the tasks of administrator and industrials, which means you will go to interpret the gospel in the way it will be the best to protect your interests in the part of the world. For these things you have to keep watch on disinteresting our savages from the richness that is plenty in the underground, To avoid that, they get interest in it and make you murderous. Competition and dream one day to overthrow you. Your knowledge of the gospel will allow you to find text orderings and encouraging your followers to love poverty. Like, happier are the poor because they will inherit the heaven. And it's very difficult for the rich to enter into the kingdom of God. You have to detach from them and make them disrespect everything which gives courage to affront us. I make reference to this mystic system and their war fetishes, warfare protections, which they pretend not to want to abandon. And you must go and do everything in your power to make it disappear. Your actions will be directed essentially to the younger ones, for they won't revolt when the recommendation of the priest is contradictory to their parents' teaching. The children have to learn to obey what the missionaries recommends. Who is the father of their soul? You must singularly insist on their total submission and obedience. Avoid developing the spirit in the schools. Teach students to read and not to reason. There, dear patriots, are some of the principles that you must apply. You will find many other books which will be given to you at the end of this conference. Evangelize the niggers so that they stay forever in submission to the white colonists, so they never revolt against the restraints they are undergoing. Recite every day, happy are those who are weeping because the kingdom of God is for them. That was there. That was the Leopold's letter. Now, some of you might have heard, maybe you never heard that before. Now, the thing is, they thought they had a task to fill. Again, this is when they carving up Africa. They're coming into Africa, and they have a mission. Now, a lot of times we see the people, the missionaries and so forth. This isn't about anti-church. We're going to talk about that when other people have agendas towards you that you may not know, that they use their apparatuses and their institutions to facilitate agendas unbeknownst to the trained eye. So what was the task to fill in that he was talking about? To evangelize Belgium's interests. Now, you could put any country in there. When we're talking about imperialism, when we're talking about colonization by white people, right? To evangelize their interests. Well, what was the interest? Was to spread whatever this, in the sense, some people say gospel, right? You have a lot of people think the word gospel, right? But you know, it used to be good spell. Let me say that one more again. The word gospel is really good spell. Goodspell, a good spell, right? That end up turning into and associate with the word God. See, it didn't originate with that, but this trickster, right? The conniver one, the deceiver one, got you saying, when you say the gospel, you thinking you talking about God, associated with God. Really, it's a good spell. I mean, somebody put in a spell on you, right? So the mission was, again, as you heard him say, was never to teach, as he said, the nigger to know God. Why? Because you already know God. How's somebody going to teach you something you already know? So what's really at hand here? What's really the true agenda here? What are you really evangelizing then? What spells are you performing against the so-called nigger, you said, right? So there was an agenda laid by Leopold. Now you may say, well, that's the story of Leopold, Mr. Blows Your Mind. What did that got to do with us here in the United States? Well, wherever abroad colonialism and let's say, what do you say? What's the other one? Where you come to me and slip my mind. But the other one, right? Imperialism. That's it. Imperialism, right? So take either choice, take either card, it's all going to be the same. So a format of scriptures is going to be laid here as they go here to do the same thing, facilitate. They don't do nothing new. We know they don't create nothing. We know they just reheat some old leftovers from last night, put a little water in there, put it on the stove, let it simmer a little bit, and voila, add a little salt and season to it. You got another meal for today. They never make nothing new. We should know that by now. Right? So they admit you already know God. You know right and wrong. But you know, you got a lot of people who come in front of us who like to tell us we wrong, right? Isn't that what this show about today? the right to tell somebody they wrong. But it seems like we don't never have the right, but everybody get to say we wrong. I think Marvin Gaye said it in his song. Didn't he say, who did they to judge us just because our hair's long? How they think we wrong, right? Right? He said, who did they to judge us think because we wrong because our hair is long, right? So anyway, but you got a lot of them that's under this good spell that look like you, and sometimes they people who, as you heard, what was his name? He said, we've been fighting in your people too, right? These people would tell us when we start talking about reparations, we all been under slavery. Everybody been, okay, so if that be the case, then you in the land that you're not from, of your lineage and heritage, and when you come in the land of somebody else who is of that, then why do y'all speak out against us? Why do you speak out against us then? If you all say y'all come from, y'all, we all slavery's nothing new. It's not the only place you are, the place you're there. But you're not in the country that your lineage and people come from. So that means when you in our house, shut your damn mouth. Shut your damn mouth, right? Am I right or am I wrong? I'm not right to say that, right? But if y'all know that, then why y'all speaking against us? If we in our house, and because you come here as a lifesaver, you say it's better here than when you left, that's like, you know what? I'm just gonna imagine, because I can only imagine this. Just say, for instance, of a child that is coming from, let's say, foster home, right? And they've been in a particular house. It was the first child to go into this particular house that got adopted. And he was under there. He in there with Satan and Miss Satan. He been going through the thorns and the stripes. And here they start bringing in new other children they adopted. Now, Mrs. Satan and Satan is going to make look like the original one, look like he's just disgruntled. He's a dissident. He just got problems. But it ain't him. Don't listen. Don't pay no attention to him. He don't know what the hell he's talking about. So now it's up to the new ones to say whether you listen to the one that's already been there or the one you going to say you going to listen to Satan and Miss Satan, right? That's up to you if that's what you want to do. So that's what they do to us as Black Americans. We in here telling you we've been here from the foundation of the making of the place called United States. And if we don't know the game, don't nobody know the game. Let me say that one more again for y'all for the paper over the window classroom. If we Black Americans who've been here before the rest of you got here, if what we say, now again, it's funny when it comes to everything else we do, you want to impersonate it, you want to copy it, you want to do it. But when we start telling you something, all of a sudden now, we don't know what the hell we talking about. And so because you think you get some degree and you done read the damn history, that somehow you could tell me what it is, right? You could tell me what it's all about. But anyway, moving on, right? So let's go on. So he goes on and he says about, again, they already know God, right? They know right and wrong. So what's really the missionaries? What is they to do then? What is really the missionaries to do? If you already know that and they come in there with the Bible in their hand, then what really is their mission? To be administrators. Now, when you say administrator, you're talking about somebody to manage or take charge of something, right? And then he said the word industrial, which means that applies to all the other people who are not part of those who are missionaries. That means the industrial people are the ones who are going to be watching over the animals, over the farm, over the stock. Let me say that one more again. The missionary job as the administrator is to manage and take care of who they said the industrials, which is who? The animals, the farms, the stock, which they rely to and put us in the categorization of animals. So he goes on, he talks about how to interpret. He said that they must interrupt what is your best interest on the parts of the world. Whose best interest? Those who was of colonization, those of imperialism. It is their job as the missionaries that come in there to soften you up for whatever their agenda is to be laid. To keep on the outlook. Now he said to keep on the outlook from amongst the savages in opposition or dissidence. Let me say that one more again. Your job as missionaries is to keep an outlook for amongst those of the savages who are in opposition and dissidence, for they will hinder our stealing of the resources Huh? You're going to be, if you get around dissidents and those who are opposition to the status quo, their job is to interrupt you so that you don't infect the rest of them, so that it doesn't allow them to, you keep them from stealing and robbing and plundering. You have to keep influencing them that so that they don't remove us from the land. Because see, if the dissidents and the opposition get the people, the masses, to understand that there's something, there is somebody there, there's somebody come to rob, there's somebody come to steal from you. But if I let you don't say nothing, you still, as they say, they want to keep you asleep. That's why they got an agenda against woke. Why is there a problem with you being woke? You need to be asleep for a reason, right? You need to be asleep for somebody's reason. All right, but you ain't hearing me though. You ain't hearing me though. So he says that your familiarities with the scripture can find a good spell. You could go into the scriptures and find a good spell. And what you're going to do is you're going to have them in poverty and teach them that poverty is heavenly, to ease their minds that the poverty that is approved or appropriate for them is sanctioned by the Bible, and that God got a place for you in heaven, because those, again, who are poor, these are God's chosen people. So some people take comfort in being in poverty. Some of us have no choice but to be, because of the design of it, right? But then you have those who come from amongst us who get on that other side, come with that bootlick rhetoric, and they're trying to convince you with a good spell that, hey, no, it's more about you. We even have some of our own people. They got this thing talking about a solution. Let me tell you something one time and one time only. The only solution will never be said openly. If I got to tell you what the solution is, and y'all keep running around here, the solution, I know you don't know what the solution is, because that solution never going to be said openly. It's going to be the end result, last man standing. How about that? All right. So anyway, you're familiar with the scriptures, right? So it says, seek after their children, right? We see this agenda. Matter of fact, the last 3 videos that I showed, they made sure them videos didn't go nowhere, because why? I tried to show you something, that some agenda that started back from 73 when the DSM went out there and said that this particular, again, I'm not anti about LGBT, that's your business. You say what you want to sleep. I do what I do as a heterosexual man. You do what you do as part of that genre of whatever that classification, what they call that to be. That's your business. But when you start to infringe and encroach upon our minds, I think I have the right to tell you you wrong. Matter of fact, they say that right is nothing but an abstract thought. It really don't exist, right? But I'm telling you, when you infringe upon it, you may feel the same. Some of you may not feel it. But when somebody's encroaching on your property, putting their fence beyond the property line, is it not right for you to say, hey, by the way, your fence is a little bit too much. Now, if you want to pay me for rental on this side, that's cool. But otherwise, you infringing upon my property. Now, if they get mad and do like the one we just heard the story that just had told the man he out there shooting the damn gun, told his ass, hey, man, wait, we got a baby here trying to sleep. This nigga go shoot up everybody. He go shoot everybody up because they just told him he was wrong. You is wrong. If you shooting your 12 gauge, you shoot your whatever the hell you shooting, and you waking up my child with it, I can't tell you, common courtesy. He said, this is my problem, do what I want to do. But your airspace is invading mine. Your boom is over in my land now. Your boom is in my earshot now. I can't tell you that. I'm wrong for telling you that you shooting, you're loud, too much shoot. And so now you take it in your own hand, and now them people dead. See what I'm saying? You can't tell people they wrong for some odd reason when they know they damn wrong. So now what they do is they're penalizing you, as I've been penalized for over 10, 11 years, telling this truth. I heard some people, I read in between your messages. You're saying things in a stealth way, but I can read who you're talking about. You understand? And let me tell you something. I ain't over here trying to tell you no solution. Ain't no solution finna be told on no damn air. You understand? Who think like that? I'm going to tell you the solution when they don't know who coming in here, what sitting up in here. I already know they up in here. So what you talking about? So what anything is, everybody keep acting like everybody already know. We already know the problem. We already know the problem. No, you don't know the damn problem. How you know the damn problem? Most of you came from people that's kind of bootlicks any damn way. Many of y'all come from bootlicks. And y'all act like y'all, we know this stuff. We all know the problem. We all know. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know how you got the problem. You don't know the historical part of the damn problem. But you know that you got a problem. You do know that much, right? And so this one is seeking after your children. Because why? If we get to the children, based on if you don't come from bootlick rhetoric, you don't come from Sambo parents, you don't come from the get along parents, them children might rise up. So don't you see it as an agenda that we got to soften the man up, make him more acceptable? You don't even understand they're undermining them when they go to the damn schools. You ain't in that schoolroom. You ain't seeing the work that they programming them with. They passing all kind of laws. They don't have to be with you when they want to go get the reassignment assignments, surgery. They don't need you for that now. They can bypass all that because we already gave that up anyway when you signed that birth certificate anyway. It became a ward of the state any damn way. But that's another time for another time. And so if you do, they go out to the children because they say when they will rise up, because when they sisters are contradicting what the parents told them, so they had to be it here and they had to go ahead and get it them. See, they got to tell them and steal them that the Father in heaven is above the Father that you got on the ground, because that Father in heaven is the one that protects your soul. So you're going to be more obedient to that. Am I against the Most High? No, I'm not talking about the Most High. I'm talking about this mode that's down here doing this thing here, the one that's using the Most High in the literature and stuff. I'm talking about that cat. I ain't talking about the Most High. I'm not talking about the Most High. I'm talking about this cat that uses that propaganda. Because see, you know how we as black folks know when that scripture tell you if anybody was to change one letter, it'd be better, right? So black folks are just like Leopold said, you ain't got to teach black folks about God. They already know God, right? So we know we wouldn't tamper with it. But would that mean Satan wouldn't tamper with it? Would that mean that those who are devious and diabolical, would they tamper with it? You damn right they would. They know you won't touch it, but that don't mean they won't. You know what I'm saying? And so they said when you talk about these schools, they teach you how to read, but not to reason. Let me say that one more again. They'll teach you how to read, but they don't teach you how to reason. Why? Question. That's it right there, right? Why? When you was little, you always, why? And somebody shut your ass down, stop all that damn why, and kill your reasoning. Huh? Let me say that one more again for those of the paper over the window. You was little. You was always why? And somebody said, shut that damn why up and turn that tap off. Killed your why. Now you can't reason. Me, you just, you just breathing. Ain't no rational, ain't got no analytical parts about you, no in-depthness in it. Simon says, we follow, right? So there's channels like this one. They don't like this one here because I'm going to try to get you to see some things, right? So anyway, so again, they say he prepared books to program their minds so that they always and forever submitted to white rule. Constantly, consistently instill words that will never fight against the bondage. Happy, they said recite every day. Happy is who weep, because the kingdom of God is yours. Right? Take that poverty. Right? Got a message here. Let's see what I got. Got Shan. Okay, for a second, too. Okay, I got you, man. All right, so now, let me show you something here, right? So, with that being said, that's where some of the beginning of some of that spirit is coming from. Certain people indoctrinating us, and then we get a long lineage of people indoctrinating and putting it in the children, and then the children grow up to be the same ones as they were programmed when they were little, and they ain't got out of that program. And then what they now do is when they become, let's say, proficient in it, The system is like Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar go pick amongst the choices of the nation, the top ones, and then he bring them in his to keep his machine going. Well, check this out. I want you to see this right quick and be right back. Check this out. This cat real said this stuff, and I want y'all to hear this.
There are some people that were talking about reparations in this country. They wanted reparations. And I remember I made this particular liberal so angry at me because I told them right to their face, nobody owes you anything for slavery. If you want to tell the truth about it, it is you who owes. It's you who owes. Why do you owe? Because somebody in those fields took stripes for you. Somebody, after those fields were ended and slavery was ended, somebody had to walk through Jim Crow for you. Somebody fought wars and died for you. Somebody lived less than because they didn't have what you have, and they did it for you. There are people in their graves right now, and they are there because they were willing to stand up and fight for you. Those folks on the Edmund Pettus Bridge carrying American flags, take that, Colin Kaepernick, living in a society that he could scarcely acknowledge, something that he has never known, living with a bigotry that none of us can imagine. Carried American flags on that bridge, and when they were hit upside the head with nightsticks and shot with water hoses and knocked to the ground, they got up and picked those flags up and kept marching. And they did it for you. Nobody owes you anything. If anybody owes, it's you. Because you've been the benefactor of freedom. You are the one that owes.
Well, I'll tell you what, huh? Right? This is this black North Carolina governor candidate said black people owes reparations in 2021. That black people owe reparations. That we owe. No, not that they owe. That we owe. Now you heard the words that came in here. And my mother's boyfriend. Wait a minute. My mom's what? That's my homie there. Your mom's boyfriend. What's up to you? What's up to you, partner? What's up? Now, you just heard what he just said, right? Right? Now, again, I'm pretty sure some of y'all was confused. If I could see your face, I'm pretty sure I already know what your face is. It was when I looked at it, too. I was like, what did nigga say? What did he just say? Okay, so again, like as I said, that spirit of good spell. You can tell some of these cats that got this good spell on them because they're convinced you, those you on the teeter on the fence, those who are little on a square and solid, he don't convince you. But those that's on the fence, and that's who they work with. All of you who are on the fence and not quite sure, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? That's who he's for. To say that. And then you have some people in this corner who look like you, cut from the cloth like you, and speak just like he do, right? So let's see something. We owe for reparation. Now again, was this slick talk or this some psychological babble? What was this, right? This is cat.
Some people that were talking about reparations in this country.
Right? So this is a dude like Mark Robinson, right? And he gives this story, and for one reason, reason why I'm bringing this, and now this is what he did again. Remember, I showed you he did this in 2021, right? In 2021, at a North Carolina Republican state party, he came and he said this. Now, they went in the archives and dug this up and bring it back. And those of you who are avid watchers of my show, don't always say that a lot of black folks, you don't understand this. A lot of stuff that y'all put on this internet and y'all be saying things in opposition to your own people, you give cannon fodder to the other side. And then when they want to break the glass in case of emergency, they go get the shit you said, and then they bring it out here and put it to you. Let me say that one more again. A lot of black folks, when you get to going back and forth with one another and say all kind of hurtful shit to your own group, the other side sits back and they gather up all the cannon fodder from all the stuff that you get that's useful, and then they bring it, repackage it, and then they say, look, see, he said you don't supposed to get reparations, right? They always go find those of the bootlick rhetoric. right? The bootleg rhetoric. That's who they are, right? So that's what he did, right? He wants to be in the seat, right? So he telling them the constituents of the Republican Party could vote for him. He said he had a story for him. He said, well, people was talking about reparations in this country. Now, what people was talking about reparations in this country? There's only one people in this country who talking about reparations. Who is that, y'all? Anybody know? Can anybody guess? I bet everybody can guess who that is, right? So we know who he talking about on the low. Who he talking about, right? So he goes and he want to tell them that's listening to. He said he remember a particular time, right? He said he made this particular liberal. Now everything is politics when they get to this racial thing. This how black folks they be doing it. Well, he's Republican. They got their rhetoric, right? They got their bootleg rhetoric, and then the Democrat got his bootleg rhetoric. But both of you both being played because it's all the same. It's just two different sides of the car. There's a right side to the car. There's a left side to the car. You got eat on the left side, but it's one face. You got to eat on the right and the left, right? So it's one face. But the problem with you two, you trying to pick which one's better. You're trying to choose which one's better, and they both agendas how to get rid of you both any damn way. But you fall for it. So anyway, so here he is, a particular liberal. He became so angry, and then he wants to say, like I remember one time, I think it was Roland Martin said he got it. Dr. Khalid's face. Remember that time anybody see that when that episode when he said, I got a Khalid's face and I told him. Remember he said that? I was like, everybody's like, we know damn well you ain't said that to no damn Khalid. But anyway, he said the same thing. I told him in his face, nobody owes anybody for slavery. Nobody owes anybody for slavery. Why do you need to say that? Why do you need to say, wait a minute. Why, if you cut from the cloth and you from the lineage and this happened to your people, what do you gain from saying that? Somebody please make me understand, what do you gain from that? What do y'all gain when y'all get out here and I heard somebody particular who done cleaned it up? I know you're listening to me, brother. I know you're listening to me. I know my numbers don't reflect it, but I'll be listening to y'all. When you said the things you said about how you finna be the one that's gonna take the bus and steer the bus of reparations, and that you have deemed and said we can't get it till you deem set to prove, and then next week you came back, you cleaned it up. I like that about you. Now I'm not gonna put your name back there. Only those who've been watching the show know who I'm talking about, and I've seen the change, so I know it's way down on the bottom. I am up at that top. They hear me. They hear me. They hear me. But anyway, so. He goes on and he says again, who says that? What's the point of saying that? That nobody owes anybody for slavery? Why is you as a black man saying that? Now, that just tells me about who I'm looking at. He said, if you want to tell the truth about it, well, what's the real truth about it? If somebody now, if people can go through the Holocaust, find me the Jewish person that goes before the Jewish people when they were sitting there negotiating, talking about getting that money from Germany and the railroads and insurance company. Show me the Jewish person that went in there, that was out there and was speaking like you. You know where he at? In the ground. That's where he probably at. If he even curled his mouth, ushered anything close to it, I'm pretty sure he in the ground somewhere. Go show me the Japanese when they were talking about the internment camps and getting the $10,000. Show me the Japanese that said what you said. You can't find them. But I'd be damned if we can find plenty of niggas who will bring their ass and say the same shit with a straight ass face because they say ain't no retribution coming to them. So they know I could say this. Okay. You're right. We're not gonna do nothing to you. We're not gonna do. We're gonna charge that to the game in your soul. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna charge it to the game in your soul. Right? So anyway, he said, it's you who owe. Now he's gonna play the reverse psychology on you. It's you who owe. And I knew back, what? What? It's you. He gonna flip it. Now watch how he flips the script. Somebody was in the field getting stripes for you. Yeah, somebody was getting stripes, but not for me. They was getting it for whatever that damn situation and that master did with the bullshit, but not for me. That was what you had to endure to survive. Why are you turning the onus on me about what they did to my ancestors, our ancestors? Why are you turning it towards me? Is that a wrong? Or was that justified? Or are you one of those like, what's his name? Larry Elder and them saying that the argument for reparations really is they could argue and really get the money. They should be, they really should get paid because you were their property. You believe that? You believe that a black man would say that they should get reparations because you was their property and they lost you as your property? Are you under the good spell? You under the good spell, aren't you? Right? Then he says they walked through Jim Crow for you. Well, what was Jim Crow about? Was Jim Crow just them using home rule to segregate us off, make us under the jurisdiction where they would be able to, a state in a city inside of a city or district, just like they're doing in Mississippi, they're bringing it back again. And they're going to have their own police department, their own court system, and so forth, and was able to lock us out that way. They don't owe us for that, for depriving us of that. No. But somebody walked for me. No, I'm here today of the survival, but my ode to my ancestors is what I'm doing right now, is to remember what the hell happened to them. For us to recall to you that, oh, what you did to us. It ain't for me to sit here and reverse and say, oh, you're right. We owe, right? But that's when you trying to be, again, he's doing a good spell on you, but you ain't picking up on it. And they try to bring it back out to make it like it was a good thing, right? So he goes on, he talks about the people in the grave who fight for you. The sickness, man. The sickness some people got. Cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They always use that. Let me say something. Let me say this. Let me say this for the record. Y'all want to, like today, there's people who pro-Obama and there's people anti-Obama, right? Well, you just think of the time back then, there are people who were pro for what they were doing, and there are people anti for what they were doing. There are people who were pro for Martin Luther King, there were people who was anti against Martin Luther King. There are people who were pro for Malcolm X and anti. You understand? There's always pros and antis, right? But you want to try to use the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and then he come with this patriotic bullshit ass story. They held the flags, and they kept it so it didn't hit the ground, and they took the hose, and they took the beating and the dog bites, and they kept, we don't fall. Wait a minute. Ain't nobody more patriotic because this is our country, fool. Ain't nobody more patriotic than Black Americans because this is our country. So you ain't got to sell me no damn flag. That's what you would consider to get. You wanted to get the pressure off of those who out there who know when we come to reparations what they owe. You took the onus off of them and put it on us, and that gave them the cajole. That was a good spell. See the good spell? See how he pulling that good spell on you? Then he wanted to go into Colin Kaepernick. He threw the Colin Kaepernick in it, right? Colin Kaepernick. See, that's brownie points, right? You don't need some tissue for your nose. That's how far you went up on that one. You need Colin Kaepernick, right? Anyway. Then he talking about how they lived in a time with hatred so bad. Now, wait a minute. Who was the one hatred so bad? If we owe reparations to ourselves and our people was enduring with the hatred that was so bad that Colin Kaepernick couldn't even pay, then what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Huh? He said some of them live less than for you. Well, God, so they live less than us because there wasn't nobody paying nobody shit. Do you know shit by 19, but I'm gonna show you because we're gonna talk about that Chicago business. Ain't nobody making no damn money. Shit, by the time by the time Gen X, when Gen X is about teenagers, they only making $3.35. So go back before 20 years before then. They down to about $1.13. Ain't nobody making no damn money. Never was making no damn money in this country. So if anybody was living poor, unless you had a degree And again, not all of us come from families that somehow got that package from massa when they left. You understand? Or was in the military, so forth, or whatever, or didn't get part of the Freedmen or the Homestead Act. A lot of us have been just generation of just surviving, poor, going through the motion the whole time, which a lot of y'all cannot fathom, cannot understand. So y'all try to speak because you may have, or being black, never really coming from there, but you talking from one who comes from there. I can see you, but you can't see me. That's the problem. I know you, but you don't know me. You got stories of me, but I can tell you about me and those like me. I could tell you about that. So he goes on to get up off him. So he said that, again, they pick up those flags, they shot water. Now, okay, who's doing this? The police? The system doing this to them? That's all justifiable. All that's good, right? And then he goes on with this, you've been the benefactor of freedom. Really? We're the benefactor of freedom. I think everybody, people that come here who are immigrants, you are the benefactor of freedom. You got your ass away from whatever turmoil and shit you was going through and refuge your ass over here. And then you come in here spitting in the dead wheel talking shit. Oh, we ain't giving black people shit. Really? Now, who are really the benefactors of freedom? Because we don't know what that is. We don't know what none of it. And all that shit about that civil rights, let me tell y'all, let me break down really what civil rights is. They cannot discriminate you at your job, at school, and at work. That's all that is. Let me say that one more again. Civil rights is nothing but they cannot discriminate you at your job, at school, and at work, and at public government places. That's it. Ain't no more, there ain't no more magic in that. Ain't no more juice in that rock. That's why when people be saying that, I know you under a good spell. You don't know what you're talking about. You under a good ass spell. That's the problem. You're under a good ass spell. I got a message here. Mr. Spizz 06, what's up? Mr. Blows, damn, I'm on my way to work. I'll get you later. Appreciate you as always, brother. You know, I gave you your props as always. I always love to see when you come through. Thanks a lot. So, again, right? Benefactors. Those are benefactors. We not the benefactors of freedom. We still fighting to get. We still in the country that won't give us, shut us out. Matter of fact, make policies, what they call it, what's that? Benign neglect. They pretend like they're gonna give you some shit, they're gonna give you some good ass rhetoric talk, they're gonna give you that good ass good spell, but again, as a man, they say you keep you pretty, looking good and all that, but no dough. You ain't gonna get no dough. You'll get everything else. They'll put in the programs and all that, but you'll get no dough. Okay. Well, that being said, then, right? Right? These are the type of people, when you look at it like this, these are the people that will pretty much want to be inclusive, right? They'll do, they'll promote, they'll ride with, they be anti-against, right? They have spirit that's in the same narrative because they want the acceptance and the favor. These are the type of people that will sell their own mama out. Let me say that again. The people like this, they will promote, ride with, be anti, spin the narrative. There'll be an acceptance, all that for some acceptance and favor. And if it came down to the sell their damn mama, they'll do it. All they want is a nod of approval. They want to become the HNIC. Who know who the HNIC is? The HNIC, head nigga in charge. I want to be the head nigga in charge. That's what he want to be. Want to be the mascot. And put the good spell amongst all again, them and those like himself, to make it seem like people like us who talk about this, that there's something wrong with us. Y'all wrong, huh? Y'all again, y'all don't have the right to say we wrong. We get to say the narrative. I'm on the side of the winning side. You know, like the fair weather friends, some people again, they was down with the Memphis Grizzlies, then the Lakers was winning. Oh, I'm with LeBron and them now. right? That's what these types are, right? They're the type that gonna jump ship when the shit get hot. That's what they do, right? So anyway, so remember what Cube said? Black cop showing out for the white cop. We got a lot of them. You see them every day on these channels. Let a topic come by and talk about somebody black, and you'll see them all come out. They'll come on out. But boy, when it's that other way, just like you say, the Vivek Ramaswamy, as we finna touch in, boy, it was crickets. It was quiet. He ain't had too much to say. But you know what they did? They did a good spin on y'all. They talked about, oh, he's LGBT. He's butt broken and all this other stuff, right? They came with that, but never stuck on the topic of what he stood on, that he got fired for. You talked about all his bad, but you didn't want to take on the part that he stood on good on. So, check this out. Be right back.
You know I need some money, gotta get the money, cause I need some cash in hand. Come on, gotta get it. You know I need the money, gotta get the money, cause I need some cash in hand. Come on, gotta get it.
What happens if you give drug addict money? What does he do? What happens if you buy an alcoholic money? He goes and buys more alcohol, right? What happens if you buy somebody who has no understanding of finances? You give him money. What does he do? What does she do? They spend it. The money rolls up to the company that has the product that you're spending money.
Right? Once again, somebody of another persuasion always got something to say. I think with the M&M's all day, everybody got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move to live. Just a bunch of gibberish. But anyway, so again, if you give poor people money, that's what he just said. If you give poor people money. Now look at the reference he said. Do you need to hear that again, or did you get it the first time? I know it was a little quick. Give one more again.
What happens if you give drug addict money? What does he do? What happens if you buy an alcoholic money? He goes and buys more alcohol, right? What happens if you buy somebody who has no understanding of finances? You give him money. What does he do? What does she do? They spend it. The money rolls up to the company that has the product that you're spending.
Now again, that's in reference to if you give poor people money, which is the reference to the same thing you talk about with reparation with black folks, right? Same thing, right? So if you give poor people money, that was his analogy, how he's kind of like working around and doing the good spell on you, right? So what if you give a drug addict money? What does he do? All right, that's a given. We all pretty much know that. What if you give an alcoholic money? What they gonna buy, right? Okay. And then he goes in, but if you give somebody with no understanding of finances, and if you give him money, what will they do? Spend it, right? So the money, he says, rolls up to the company who has the product, and you're spending money with them. Okay, now, people be saying, I charge it to the game on Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle did that joke about the reparations, right? When he said that about if you give black people, all they're going to do is spend their money, give it back to all that. And so again, as I told you earlier, when black people throw stuff out there to the wind, they pick it up, repackage it, and send it back to us. All you're going to do is blow the money. So now they want to tell us that if they gave us money, you made the analogy equating us to drug addicts and alcoholics. Drug addicts and alcoholics. Now, according to, if you've seen the last show, and if you even seen what happened with the Dr. Phil situation, they had Dr. Darity, who was an economist from North Carolina, I think in North Carolina, or Georgia, Georgetown, North Carolina, but he's one that's been advocating, he came up with the numbers. They were talking about 385,000 on that show to 800,000, right? So he was saying, well, shit, if you give black people $385,000, they ain't gonna do nothing, just like he just said, like an alcoholic or a drug deal, a drug addict. All they gonna do is give it back to the companies. What? No shit, Sherlock. Of people who've been deprived, disenfranchised, prohibited from getting loans and right. So you don't have places where you can really spend the money to keep the money cycling amongst yourself. So the way that you designed us, let's tell the damn truth. You made black people to be a consumer nation. Let me say this one more again. You made black people to be a consumer nation. That's why everybody that come here, they get their own little conclave of people. They build their little cities and their little stores, and they make stay amongst them, and they're able to circulate that money by having that community do that. But you prohibit us from doing it. The only way we was able to be amongst each other like that is when you redlined us, and all of us didn't have much or had nothing at all. And so it breeds a different kind of environment, especially when you can't get stores, you can't get products or manufacturing stuff. So who else are we gonna spend our damn money with? So it sounded good when he said that. All they got to do is gonna be like that. So let me show you something. So a drug addict has a vice, right? So when you talk about somebody who was a drug addict, they got a vice. They got an addiction to chemicals, right? So the dependency on the high. Possible some people are high. They could be functioning off the substance. There's some people who, in the days of crack, for those who were around will remember, there's a lot of high functioning crack addicts. People who had jobs, worked 9 to 5, was able to get that work and still keep and maintain their job. That was their vice they had, right? But this ain't the same thing here, though, right? This ain't the same thing. And an alcoholic would be like the same thing. An alcoholic is somebody would be like what? Having a vice, addicted to some kind of alcoholic, which is a chemical, right? And it's possible that this is a coping mechanism for them dealing with whatever got them in that stupor. But this ain't the same thing. Now, when you say somebody damn poor, you know what their addiction is? You know what their vice is? Need of, what is it called, y'all? Food, clothing, shelter, Medicare. Let's say that again. A poor person's addiction and being deprived and not having ain't on no chemical. It's going to be because they need food, clothing, shelter, and medical. So when you make this analytical assumption that poor people with the money need financial literacy, okay, let's say you gave everybody $385,000. Now we would all love that damn deal they did in San Francisco with the $5 million. We'll take that. Don't get it twisted. We'll take that. But let's say the $385,000. Let's say you get everybody back to America who can show them needs to go for $85,000. You know how quick that money can be spent? Oh, because you know the bigger portion of us don't got shit. The bigger portion of us is working for nothing, right? So $385,000. If they said they just wanted to get a home, money gone, right? If they just wanted to get a house, money gone, right? Now they can. What about all the other stuff they need? They need food, clothing, right? They got the shelter. Now they need food and clothing. The house that's gone. Right? So you can't do that. So you said, all you're going to do is buy Jordan. I guess so. Nigga need shoes. Nigga need clothes. So it's easy for y'all to say it when the people don't got nothing to get something. Of course, when you deprive them, they ain't got it. The first thing they're going to do is spend. Why is that so hard to understand? But that's something so y'all can say, put the good spin on people so that make them say, they ain't going to do nothing but waste the money. When you ain't got no money. That's why you see people when they win the damn lottery, they be blowing that motherfucking money till they finally realize, okay, I got the need, that want out. I got the want out now. I can subside now, and now let me do right. But in the beginning, when you first get some real money, have you ever got some real money the first damn time? Shit, this story's in the NBA. I think Shaq said, was it Shaq? One of them blew their whole first check, blew all that money, blew the millions right off the bat. That's right. So what you think with a whole bunch of people ain't got no money? Oh, the economy gonna go up. That's for sure. Oh, the economy gonna go up. The problem is we just ain't got no money. And so it's just a deterrent, anything to say so you don't want to give. Okay, fine. Anyway, right? I got a message here. Who in there? Leonard DeYuta, what's good, brother? What's good with you? Glad to see you in the house, right? So again, poor people need things. So it's not to sit there just to say that you're trying to equate like some addict and you need some financial literacy. You ain't got a whole lot of money. Y'all acting like 300. Let's say if there are these numbers, which I think is very low, too damn low. But let's just say if they did do 385, even if they get $800,000, do you think that could be generational wealth? when the people who now, you know how many people are sitting out here with Black Americans who are going homeless if they're already homeless? You understand? It's like taking a glass of water into the damn desert and pouring it in the middle of the damn desert. All of it trying to drink that. That's how much of thirst it is. You got so much need and want of things they have to have, of necessities to function. That water be like putting a cup of glass of water in the desert, or somebody who was thirsty in the desert with a shot glass. Here they've been traveling to the desert. You got a shot glass of water. That wouldn't do shit. No, you didn't even taste nothing. But that's y'all way equivalent to try to say, well, y'all don't deserve shit. You don't deserve any damn thing. But like I said, the mitigated guard that many of y'all got, you come here, and if anybody's been the benefactors of freedom, it has been you. So what you owe is, you owe Black people. You owe that. It's not for you to get your ass out here on these ethers and talk about what we don't get and what you ain't gonna pay. What about this? If you don't pay, you don't want to give, go your ass back. How about that? See, you know what it is. You know what you ran from. So you think it's better here. And then the thing that you came here came from off the backs and sweat and work and hard progress, if there's any word that can equivalent to that, because I ain't seen it. It's just a word to me. But you ain't what you gave. What's your contribution? You got people here falsifying their contribution now. They in here telling you, they making their story sound similar to our damn story. And you kind of like, what the hell, wait a minute. John Leguizamo, what story are you talking about? Are you talking about in Latin America, or are you talking about here in the United States? Because I'm confused. Like I said last time, I'm confused. And so they doing that, right? Everybody talking about now what they contribute to the United States to try to be equivalent to the original lender. You know what I'm saying? The priority. When you at a job, it's by seniority. And everybody vibing to find a way to try to take us out of the seniority place. That tells me a lot about y'all. And I understand why y'all country the way it is. Y'all dog eat dog. You don't give shit. And like I said, many of you probably sellouts of your country running up under here. Because them people back where you came from, they know who you are. When you come here, you can tell us anything. But back in your home, I bet you lie you can't go back home, because they know who you are. They know what y'all really did. You understand? You don't pay no attention to me, though. Pay no attention to me. So anyway, let's move on. Get off that. But again, can you imagine that? Somebody's going to sit here and say that if you gave us money, it'd be like a crack addict or an alcoholic. No, we just need a lot of shit. There's a lot of our people, because, they like to use and put people, billionaires and their children. They take a few people and pick them and put like a apple in front of a horse and make everybody look at that apple. And that way they put the blinders on the side of the horse so you can't see all the other poor people. You don't see the 80 to 85% of the rest of them don't got nothing. And they're going to take this one apple that's going to represent, see, look, Black people doing good. And there's so many people who get on here and they're talking about how, we doing good. We getting the bag. You like saying the bag. And yet when it comes to find everybody getting their ass robbed, just like you two, all of y'all getting robbed. I don't even get no money. I don't get no money on here. And the way they do me, I know if they doing me like this and you is working for them, you ain't getting nothing either. Because it's funny to me, you see some people with 1 million subscribers and can't get 10,000 views consistently, even when they go live. Why is that? Why haven't the black, let's say, creators got together and say, fuck it, we finna sue them because they've been discriminating us, and we the greatest entertainers in the goddamn world, and we getting the less views? Let me say this one more again. We the greatest entertainers that the world follows. Everybody follows what you do, what you say, and yet the black corner of YouTube is smaller. When the white groups cats got 100 millions, almost 1 billion subscribers, and you gonna tell us if you didn't keep us restricted that you wouldn't have those numbers? Or y'all just, again, when they do it, it's okay, I got something, it's better than nothing. See, you let them keep playing us. See, I don't get nothing. They took me out mysteriously when I got it in 2016. All of a sudden, one day I wake up and they took me out of the program. No letter, no nothing. They took me out. But anyway. But again, those who know from 2014 when I did Extinction of the White Race, they said no more from him, cut him down. But anyway, moving on. So let's go to this here, right? So Don Lemon's firing from CNN link, explosive on-air exchange with Vivek Ramaswamy, right? As I was talking about earlier, right? Now I did the show the day before, because matter of fact, I think it was my the brother that's in here, my mom's brother or sister, what did he say? My mom's boyfriend. I think that was my mom's boyfriend said, he sent me a message, said, hey, Mr. Blow Your Mind, they fired Don Lemon. I was like, oh, yeah. I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? I'll be ahead of the curve, right? I'll be ahead of the curve. And so let's just look at that a little bit, what I showed, because they won't show the entirety no more. Lucky I had got it. They won't show you everything. They only show you what I showed you in the beginning in that clip. Look at this and be right back.
I want to get into a few issues, one of them being China. Before I get to China, I just want to better understand something you said this week speaking before the audience at the NRA. Here's what you said, referring to back to 1865. Here it was.
I want you to raise your hand if you know when the first anti-gun laws were passed in this country. Raise your hand if you do. 1865. You want to know when it happened? We fought a civil war in this country to give black Americans the equal protection under the law that we failed to secure them in 1776. But then you want to know what happened? Southern states passed anti-gun laws that stopped black people from owning guns. The Democrat Party, then as in now, wanted to put them back in chains.
Then as in now, that's quite an accusation about the current Democratic Party. Who and what were you referring to?
I was referring to Joe Biden and his expression of wanting to put them back in chains, dating back to Lyndon Johnson. I think Lyndon Johnson's so-called Great Society was one of the greatest misnomers in American political history, where even back then in the 1960s, 70% plus of black kids were born into two-parent homes. Today, that number is less than 30% in the opposite direction. The very policies that we implemented in this country in the name of helping black Americans have actually been disastrous for black Americans and all Americans. And I think that that's something that we need to wake up to.
In 1865, you were talking about the black codes, right?
That's right.
Passed, enacted to make it a crime for a black person to carry a gun in the South. But you're equating that to the current president? You're referring to economic chains? What are you saying?
Well, I was referring to Joe Biden's, I think, ill-chosen expression to say they're the party that wants to put you back into chains. What I'm actually saying is that if you look at the policies of the modern Democratic Party.
Democrats.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is that actually it's policies like that of Lyndon Johnson and Joe Biden that are actually holding black Americans back.
The war on poverty?
Yes, and in particular his Great Society, where he actually created incentives in the family, where if you're a family, you could actually get more money by not having the father in the home. Guess what you get? You get what you pay for. And I think it's been really bad for the black community. I think it's really bad for all Americans.
Do you have anything on this before I move on to China?
I don't see what one has to do with the other, but go on. I took up a lot of time with Fox.
Oh, it's fine. We have time.
I don't really see what one has to do with the other, especially considering and using the Civil War to talk about black Americans. That war was not fought for black people to have guns. That's not.
That war was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country. Yeah. Actually, that's why the Civil War was fought.
Okay.
And the sad part about it,
fought for black people to have guns. I think.
Actually, you know, funny fact is, black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have the equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned that there were three different shades
Don, I
of
think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think you to compare it to 1865 and 1964 is actually, I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong.
What part of the history was wrong? What part of the history was wrong?
That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to have.
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think that Even
yes,
after,
you're right.
even
But it
after
wasn't-
we
but
succeeded, we had to actually secure
reduce
those
it-
freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA, to say you're making people think, or you're trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for the Civil War.
It is a
that's
fact.
reductive.
It's not
and I think
reductive,
it's
Don.
insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons that for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was
Black
part
people,
of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They
That's
were
a
not
fact.
secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not, you are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to
And you
happen
know how they
after the
got
Civil
it?
War
They got their
and
Second Amendment
Reconstruction.
rights, and they actually got, the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don,
The NRA did not play a big role in
absolutely,
that.
they trained black Americans how to use firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role in
This is
that.
just historical fact. But
It's
Don,
not historical fact.
the part that I
Just
find
because you say it's historical
the
fact,
part that I
it's not
find
historical
insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have
The
gone
fact
through
that I
civil
find
rights
insulting
revolution in
is
this
that
country.
you are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I
know
have
the
a different
freedoms
point
that
of view.
black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate
I'm not saying you
without
shouldn't
me
express your
regarding
views,
you as a
but I think
black
it's
man,
insulting that
but
you're
me
sitting
regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
that you're
That's what I
sitting
think we
here,
should see.
whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me
Whatever ethnicity
about
I'm, I'll
what
tell
it's
you.
like to be black in
Whatever
America.
ethnicity
I'm
I am, I'll tell
sorry.
you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on the
debate. but I think
content
you should,
of the
if you're gonna
ideas.
do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a
I
fair
think-
way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay? But we appreciate you coming on.
With
Thank you
due
for that.
respect, Don, I look forward to
Thank you very
continuing
much.
that conversation.
We'll
Thank
continue
you.
the conversation.
Thank you.
All right, so we back, right? So that was the bantering going back and forth between Don Lemon and Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, Vivek is 37 years old. Accordingly, Don Lemon is 57. I've seen another place at 52. So I'm going to say he's 57. So that's a 20-year difference. That means Ramaswamy was born about 85, right? Don Lemon was born like 66 or 65, somewhere around there, right? So him being a first generation immigrant, parents coming from India, him being born here. Yes, you can be educated, you can get your degrees, you can study history and know it, right? And the same could be the same when it comes to Don Lemon. But the difference between the two is one is part of the history. Now I know Don Lemon has some mixtures in him, but he have that lineage. He does have a line that connects him into the Black American, as we say, Black Americans, indigenous, indigenous. Some say Moors, some say FBA, right? All the umbrella I call Black Americans until we get it straight what we really gonna be, right? So anyway, the thing is, a person from the lineage has those generations in him. Those people that he is from are in him. That is part of your DNA makeup, right? Some people will say Akashic records. You as an outsider coming here and using citizenry as some equivalent to somebody who has lineage and generations. And if we're going to take the story of 1619, again, hypothetical with the story, I'm not telling this is the truth. 1619 till now is 404 years, right? So we're going to say if a generation is somewhere between 20 to 25 years of a generation, so we got somewhere between 20, 19, let's say between 20 generations and 15 generations, right? Of people and being here. And, you know, someone could be a little shorter because you could have had some at 13 and so forth. But anyway, so 20 to 15 generations, and you as a first generation like taking a plant from India, bringing it over here, planting it over here, and it does not have any roots. But yet it wants to tell somebody because it read the history and think it understands, and gonna tell them what it is about progress. They're gonna tell them what some organization you joined, and we've been here since the inception of it. We ain't been here when they prohibited, said, and wrote that literature and policies that we couldn't be a part of it, right? Right? Oh, now I know, yeah, some of you gonna leave. You gonna leave. Because you know, y'all, again, we don't have the right to tell y'all wrong. You want to tell us something about something we know. This ain't what we heard. This is what we know. The problem is you don't want us to speak the truth because you're in protecting of your master, the one that gave you from your shipwreck or the place that you running from and persecution or being a refugee from. We get that, but he's in debt to us. Even that is in debt to us. So when you come here and you speak out against us in that form and fashion and talk about how it's insulting to you and they try to hide behind this, the country, you wrong. You dead wrong. And under the, let's say, in that professional world, Don Lemon could never say what I could say on here. He could never do that. He couldn't get hired doing that, right? So to get at him because he made you come out of your bag. See, and that's what a lot of our people hide. There's a lot of people who say they black, but they don't get to see what Don Lemon did, said, explaining whoever you are, wherever your ethnicity is, he had to come out of his bag and had to set things straight. I'm an Indian American, right? You can be with some people and they be talking that sleek talk, talking to us, and they look like you, but they never want to go into that bag. They use the fact that they born here and they try to give them the validity as equal to you. Everybody trying to make some equivalence to us, knowing that in their background they come from other places, but they want to be equivalent so they can shut us down because in the true heart of them, a lot of them may just hate the position that we got. There's a jealousy somewhere. They want to belittle us in one aspect, and then the next aspect they want to replace. That's why I do that little rendition about you late again, Eddie. The Black American, there was a conversation, secret conversation. Then when the Black American walk in the room, right? That whole thing, you want to take my place. Well, it has that scent to this. We see it. There's people who want to ignore it. There's some people who want to reprimand me because I'm speaking on it. No, you can't reprimand me. You too young. You my child. Fuck what you heard. You ain't telling me shit. I've been here before you. I seen shit. You can only read what I seen. I seen everything you done seen, but you ain't seen everything I seen. So how the hell you gonna tell me? I'm not the people you grew up with. I'm not the old people around you who don't know, who can't articulate what they seen. I ain't lettered. I ain't from all that, but I'm from where you come from. But I just was given that gift to be able to see and articulate. Take it for what you wanted. So you're not gonna come tell me nothing about none of that. I'm not new to this. And I know about, I've been around along with them people that came here and how they came in our neighborhood and they got their ass right up out of there. They come in when they first get here and they can't wait to get the hell away from us. So a lot of black people can't say that. I can say that. So anyway, the point is this contention on air that Don Lemon, that so many people I've seen in the corner, black people who did not take the position, again, either stand all or don't stand all, not with. We ain't gonna be partial this and partial that. Either he was saying something that we agree with and fuck what he's sleeping with and all that other shit. If he stood on what his square is about us, we ride with that. What's wrong with that? They do it. Look at Carolyn Bryant. Look what they did for Carolyn Bryant. They wouldn't put her ass in jail. They couldn't find the records. They demonizing her, and they ain't even put nothing out here to make her look bad in no way. But boy, when it come to us, boy, if someone got an itch for a scratch, that their ass can't wait to say something bad or negative about you. But look at these other folks, man. They protect theirs. You don't see them coming out speaking against them like that. But we ain't got no problem with doing that because a lot of you hate who you are when you look in the mirror. You hate even when you brush your teeth, like, I can't stand this thing in the mirror. It be you. Be your own damn self. You can't even damn stand. Crazy shit. But anyway, so this exchange that went around that everybody was, they slapping high five. They got rid of Don Lemon. Now, you gotta ask yourself, what you got now? Who you got in there now? Because, again, yes, he has to play that role. He says some things that he got to go with because that's the script he got to take. And then the time when they make it personal against him, he rung the bell. Anytime they would put him in the position that they had to compromise him in that same position, he stood the ground. Remember when he stood before the crown? Remember they was talking about reparations. Remember they had just inherited all the money after the queen's death, right? And they were talking about all that money. He said, why don't you get that money to reparation? Remember, they got mad at him about that. And then they put the good spill on everybody and said, we should go to Africa because they did it first. But it was Don Lemon who did that. You see what I'm saying? I can name a couple things he done did. Again, his bedroom and all that other shit, I ain't none of my damn business. Black business is my business. So a 37-year-old is telling a 57-year-old who come from lineage, and it ain't about the age, it's the fact that you just got here and you learn everything you got from a book, and he's of the people that the book is talking about. It's like talking about the Bible. It's like talking about the Israelites, and you are the Israelites. And the people who ain't the Israelites can only read the damn book. And the people who the Israelites come from the generation got an inside understanding of the scriptures because they the people more than what them scriptures is telling you. But you don't want to hear it from us. We can't be right. You got to be right, and we got to be wrong. But we got the right to tell y'all wrong, whether you adhere to it or not. That's up to you. So we see that he said that the freedom of Black Americans in the post-Civil War era, and Don Lemon said he was insulted as a Black man, as a Black American. Now, again, y'all who got on him about him being LGBT, but that's what we want from them. We want them to think Black American first, not their damn sexual preference. Let me say that one more again. Those people who are of the persuasion of LGBT and all this feminism shit, you should be Black first. Your race in this game that they got in here, the United States of race, it should be first. As a feminist, about your gender, we can't no family without no man. So you can put that shit in the garbage. That was just a way to sever you away from your family. Being LGBT, what you do in the bedroom at night and all that, they ain't got nothing to do with this game of race. Because even in that feminism game, y'all Black women that's in that feminist, ain't y'all the bottom part of that? Don't they get all the king share of or the queen share of it? And when the LGBT, don't y'all get the pot liquor of all the shit? So where's your real home at? Where your real home at? Oh, okay. You'll figure it out. You're going to figure it out. So they go in and they talk about how the New York Times suggested that the blow up was linked to the incident that what you all just heard. A lot of people try to say it was about something else, or they were just tired of him and so forth. No, he made a person of a persuasion of an Asian Indian, right? And made him have to come out of his bag and made him look like he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He was talking things that he had no reference that he should be really pressing. And Don Lemon was right to do that. And if any of them do that, we have the right to tell you wrong. You don't get to tell me about what progress is. You're not me. Just because y'all can go find a couple, again, bootlicking rhetoric spitters to say that shit, that is not the totality of us. But you never put the microphone across nobody who's going to tell it to you right. Because if they do, they won't show that part of the clip. They'll find somebody else to say the thing they need said. And so, again, they had enough of it. He's been ruffling the feathers for so many times. And then you also got to look at the fact that this Swamy, right, this Ramaswamy said that that exchange did have his play in it. And he said they made a sound decision. So he was in agreement to it. He agreed that he shouldn't have been talking to me like that, right? So again, this fight is about, once again, we don't have the right to tell them they wrong. Think about that. We don't have the right to tell them they're wrong. He think that any network, now this is this Ramaswamy he ended up saying in this article. He said, I'll put the article back up there. You can put the article up there. You got them not seeing nothing. Okay. He said that he think any network that wants to foster open debate should embrace the principles by not restricting what someone says or saying what someone can say is restricted based on their skin color. He used that race card. He tried to say that Don Lemon said he can't use, he's trying to use the race color for him to not be able to speak the history. That's not true. What he's telling you is, as the people who you're talking to in reference to the history you're speaking, and he being one, what you read in the history books may not be what really happened, because the people know. And what y'all try to do is y'all take what they said in that book over the people. We know what the hell happened. We know how, when our ancestors came from 1865 and put all that money that they garnered from the military into the freedmen banks, and how you collapsed the bank so you could take the money from us. And then when we came together again to put our to help those who were elderly who couldn't work anymore, and we were going to we made the first, really, when you think about it, Social Security. We created that back then, and know what the government came and did? Shut that down and said, y'all can't do that, and made mail fraud. That black people got together, was putting funds together for those people who didn't have, that they put money in a pot, and they would send money to all of them, and they put wire fraud, mail fraud to stop them from doing it. Right? Did you read that in the history book? Right? Why black folks didn't trust the damn bank? Because, right, just like they did, they got Frederick Douglass to put $10,000 when they knew the banks were coming insolvent. Instead of them, they didn't want them to do a bank run to come get their money. So they put Frederick Douglass. He's going to say, well, I got $10,000. I'm going to put it in there. See, it's safe. I'll put it in there. So ask us about how some of our ancestors of that time might have thought about Frederick Douglass. They may not have no kind words for you. I'm not saying what he did historically, but I'm saying when he came and did that, and when they lost all their damn money, and then ironically, when they bust the damn banks, you get the railroads being built. I wonder where they got the money from. But you didn't hear that from me, though. Now, you didn't hear that from me. So he said you can't restrict him and do it based on skin color. See, no. History ain't got nothing to do with about a conversation. But when you start getting personal about things, you're just taking somebody's published view of it. It doesn't take precedence. It's like somebody talking about, let's say you start talking about the 80s and the 70s. Those of you who might be a certain age, you got to read about that. But talk to somebody who was of that time. They may have a different perspective than what that book tells you. You get what I'm saying? So he don't even understand it. And that's the lack there of understanding. As an immigrant, you've been uprooted. You don't have the long roots as Black Americans got long roots in this country. That's why a lot of y'all think y'all know the game better. And when y'all want to start talking about y'all made hip hop and that, we looking at y'all like, shit, damn, you know how long of shit we've been making since we've been here? Hip hop ain't nothing new. That's just an evolution of all the shit we done already did. But to you, it's new because you ain't never done nothing. You ain't never built nothing. But y'all try to minimize our contributions. We try to minimize what we've done for your own benefit. And then y'all speak openly about us. We can't allow that, y'all. We cannot allow that. We just can't allow that. So he said he's playing discrimination on a non-Black people being unable to say their truth without Black people denying them. Okay, he's playing the discrimination, right? That non-Black people are unable to say the truth without Black people denying their version of the truth, right? You ever heard that before? There's your truth, there's their truth, and then there's the truth. Let me say that one more again. There's their truth, there's our truth, and then there's their truth, the truth, right? So the problem is you only got yours from reading. You don't have no people being here that goes back further enough so that you could have got a real perspective of it. You got all you got is your shit came from reading. You're never going to be able to debate me. You're never going to be able to have that real conversation with me. Even the most white person can try to have that conversation with black people, and that's why they get other people to come and try to do their dirty work, because we got the trump card. You know, when we play spades, I holding the big joker, the little joker, the ace of spades, the king of spades, the queen of spades, the jack of spades, the 10. Now you can have the 9, 8, 7 down all the way down, but I got all the face cards. I'm trumping every card you pull. And they know that. So what you're doing is you're trying to find some side mug who done got under the good spell, thinking that I can take on them, massa. I could do it. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a champion. So Don Lemon, in his own way, was doing what he did, but they said enough shit is enough shit. Because they say we're tired of this woke shit, right? That's what they're saying, right? And so you got to also look at the fact that Don Lemon could be. Now, again, this is hypothetical, y'all. This is not me advocating, but let's just look at it this way. Don Lemon could also be inspiring those of his ilk. Of that ilk that he come from, that genre he come from. A facet to this leak of an image of persuasion. He could be also influencing those who like him of that ilk to take the same position he do. Remember that you see there's this big movement trying to get everybody to be under that, and then there's no masculinity because they're trying to kill it. And then you got Don Lemon. Yeah, he's under that, but that stance he taking. Boy, ain't nothing more sassy than one of them is, right? More flamboyant than one of them. And let him be one of that advocate like that, and you get a nation of them, they're gonna have problems. You know what I'm saying? They will have problems. He's cutting more ways than one. And I don't understand why none of our people did not try to take that position, and everything was about the, all the other stuff that, okay, we know that already. But anyway, so let me just move on from that, because again, like I said, that's what this was all really about. They were just going at it toe to toe, and what it is, you beat him, they can't take it. So I still can pull the plug because I want to get to sign your check. I keep you in position. This is why a lot of people who advocate for ownership, and this is why they always keep us from not being ownership, because why? If you can't control you, right? If I can't pull the plug from you, you your own man. And so some people need the game to be rigged so they can have the power on you. Because if you have an even match, let's say for instance, like sports, when you get in sports, it's mano a mano, right? It's man on man, right? And you can't use a cheat code. I mean, you can foul somebody, you can hit somebody below the belt, but in boxing, you got to whoop them by points or knock them out. And basketball, you got to outscore them. And there's nothing in, let's say, the control mechanisms of colonialism, imperialism can help you in sports. That's just true. That's really just true. That's just true. And so I just thought a lot of them should have took a better position. But matter of fact, I ain't even gonna go no more on this. How about this? Hey, Vivek, Ramaswamy, since you always talking about us in that way, right? I got something that happened recently. Why don't you say something about this?
Edsa, my tongue. Edsa, my tongue. Edsa, my tongue. Edsa, my tongue.
If Magic Johnson's son didn't want to play basketball, wait for it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. children have arrived, hunty. Yes.
Mama, you get it. Mama, you get it. Mama, you get it. Mama, South America, you get it. Mama.
You know you're out of sight. You know you're out of sight. Hey! 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 You! Hey! Hey! Know you're out of sight. You! Hey! Hey! Know you're out of sight. Hey, hey. Know you're out of sight. Hey, hey, hey. You're too much. You're the end.
So we back, right? I got you, sister. I'm gonna put it up on that screen for you. I got that for you, right? So I'm go ahead and we throw that up there so you can do that. I was one I had been looking for you, right? So you put that up there for you. There you go. You can send it there, right? So I seen. Well, I'm pretty sure y'all probably heard, right? Y'all probably heard this one here, right? Bill Maher, right? Bill Maher has said some things just recently too, and I want to address that, right? And okay, I got you, sister. All right. Bill Maher had said this here, right? He was talking about high Chicago crime rates isn't talked about enough. Why are you killing each other, right? Say that one more again. Bill Maher says high Chicago crime rates isn't talked about enough. Why are you killing each other? Once again, y'all ask questions that you already know the damn answer, but what you do is put the onus on us and say that, well, why are you killing each other? As if you have no cause and effect to it. Now, again, I'm not saying per se him, but collectively as a group, I had y'all hands in there. You know what I'm saying? So let me let y'all hear what he said, and then as I go elaborate, check this out. Listen to this.
Like Chicago, like most of the shootings are young black men killing other young black men. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, much more than what the cops do. Why doesn't anybody talk about that? Well, I mean, why aren't there, 100 giant black celebrities who would have the respect of those people saying, "What are you doing to yourselves? Why are you killing each other?"
This is no way to live. This dishonors our community. Come on. We're better than this.
Right. I feel like it's never addressed.
And what I would want to observe is that any structural move that you want to make requires a majority of the people to get behind it. Requires democratic politics to get behind it. And in order to get a majority of the voters in Chicago or any place else to get behind anything that's going to cost them money, they have to feel safe. They have to feel that the people who are in charge are on their side. And that's why Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson needs to come and give speeches in which he says this is contemptible behavior. We won't tolerate it in our city. The reason we have cops is precisely in order to stop this from happening. And if you do it on my watch, you're going to go to jail. He needs to say that in order to get the white taxpayers in the city not to move out of the city and to get behind whatever structural program a clever man like Danny comes up with.
But, I mean, okay, so I also read this week in the paper, one in 3 children in America cannot read at a basic level of comprehension. 85% of black students lack proficiency in reading skills. We already spent a lot of money on schools. So you're going to keep telling me more money will fix this? Because I feel like this is much more connected to the problems of people who can't read, yes, they're going to have problems with gainful employment. And it seems like, you know, a lot of times the solutions that come from the left seem symbolic. They don't seem like we're actually addressing what really needs to be done, is get kids learning, get them reading, get them able to have a job. I don't know how.
Right, so we back, right? So that was a recording of what you heard, right? So again, the question they saying is, why is it, he said big black celebrities not going out and promoting that, but they promote whatever the status quo is and what society wants them, because when it came to getting that shot, oh, they had them out here talking about that, didn't they? They had them talking about that. So you in the business, I'm pretty sure you understand how that really works. But it's a good sound, but it's a good spell put on the people. And then you'll have somebody like the dude that was talking in there. This guy here, you didn't see him. But the dude on the left there, I don't know what his damn name is, but you see how he placated to the audience when he said, if you want things to change, you got to go with white people. Now, I'm paraphrasing and I'm going in between what he was saying. This is what he was saying. You got to get white people to feel safe and that they want to donate money if you want to make change. See, it's always based on what you feel and what you want, not what's just right, but you have to feel. Now, again, the cause and effect of this is the long history of redlining, employment, non-employment, bad schools in Chicago. And the thing about Chicago is that I look at it like this. When you talk about the three largest cities in America, you're talking about LA, New York, Chicago, right? New York is pretty much like a immigrant hub. California got that same kind of hub feeling too. But when you get to Chicago, it's got more of the Southern Black Americans as the predominance in Chicago. There are other groups of people, but Black people have been in Chicago long before all those other groups. And so they've been there longer. And again, when the history to that, anyway, we'll get into that more. I'm going to show something. So when he sit there saying they're not speaking about it, what is there to say? There's nothing that needs to be said that ain't already understood. Crime is a part of what? Lack thereof economics. It's very simple. But you, again, y'all were just talking about the weeks before the shows I did. For those who didn't know, you better subscribe and all that other good stuff. The other show that I talked about was about when they was talking about the teen takeover and how they focus on some rambunctious teenagers who did some things. Again, we don't know all the ins and outs. We just know what the clip showed. We all been teenagers. We know how it is. During spring break, was it spring break? But anyway, you got a park down there that's a public park that covers the 77 neighborhoods in Chicago, so which allows them children to go down there. And because this is your tourist area where your Gold Coast money at, and then you got people who are coming down there who are poor, just like that Valuetainment cat said about poor people and giving them money, and all they gonna do is give it back to the system. So it's like everybody don't want poor people around them, but yet they're trying to use parts of the system to have some play. Again, these children are the ones that don't want to be in gangs. They don't want to be the ones robbed. Because see, you notice that they never mentioned about any of those kids running in them stores, breaking and stealing, and it was all about them just being out there. You talked about some shootings that was not in that area. If you know Chicago, 31st Street Beach is not where Millennium Park is. Madison and State is not where Millennium Park is, but they use some incident from there and there, combine them, commingle them together to try to give a scenario that they're doing things they don't want them. But they came back anyway because really you was going to discriminate against them, right? So you don't want poor people around you because it reminds you of how much your people have been robbing and stealing and depriving them. And when you talk about Chicago, got a long history to let me show you some things. I got a couple messages. Hold on, let me get these messages. Okay, thanks a lot, sister. I got you. I'm gonna put your messages up there. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Thanks a lot, Sharon Washington. So with that being said, they know what they contribute, and so they feel guilty. And that's what it is. When you got a lot of us amongst them, they feel guilty or they're scared because of why? What you scared about? Black people ain't no different than when you think if we out and about, there's a bunch of y'all here, we ain't looking at y'all look like what y'all on, because y'all get destructive over winning a damn game. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tear some shit up over a win of a damn game. They were just down there being around bunches of kids again, being a teenager, showing out, trying to find who you are, trying, dudes showing out for girls, all kinds. There's all the little nuances of being a teenager. But what you want to do is y'all want to highlight and make them be like they ain't supposed to be down here. And then you got one black person that came by, oh yeah, they should not do, they having fun, but they shouldn't be down here without any supervision. Then y'all come out reinstating back the damn curfew. It wasn't even summer. They were talking about summer curfew, and spring ain't even hit yet. Spring just got here, April 19th, April 20th. So that was even before then. Y'all was already trying to, so it's like, wait a minute, this is how y'all answer shit. You just get it the fuck away from me, and then everything will be fine. As long as it's out of sight, out of mind, I'm all good, right? So my thing is, let's look at Chicago and its history. Let's really look at its history, and let me show you something that some of y'all may not know. Let me show you a stat that I've seen up here. Because one, he talks about crime, right? He talked about this crime business. So as you see on your screen, I went and got something, got out the police report of Chicago, and we're just gonna use this as an indicator, right? I'm gonna just use this as a little indicator. And make sure you can see that good on your screen there, right? So what you see is they got 2022 and 21, because it was December, they're going into the new year 2023. And if you see on there, yes, there's killings in Chicago. There is killings in Chicago. But that's not to take away from that. It's not saying that there isn't, but that is a systemic problem due to, again, economic hardship, environment. When you talk about, again, elbow room when it comes to, if the only economic source that we got is drugs, you can't be infringing upon my encroachment or my territory, or that's going to cause problems. And then there's women involved in that, right? Men fight over women, sometimes dealing with the same woman or hollering at my woman or family members and so forth, right? So there's a lot of different variables inside that. It's not just killing each other. It's the sensationalness that the media do, because don't tell me that they're not killing each other in Chinatown. They're not killing each other what white folks say. You know what I'm saying? Killing happening all around, but what you do is make the poster about us, right? And then you use the statistics to try to back it up. And then those who need that, that's what they're going to go with. So as you see on your screen, make sure I got this, see if I got this. Yeah, okay, that one. Yeah, put that one. Yeah, that's the right one. So as you see on your screen there, right, it's got murder, it's got the serial assaults, right? Crimes of serial assault, robbery, aggravated battery, burglary, theft, right? Motor vehicle theft. And you see the numbers, right? Now we know we just hit May. So we're going back at least 5 months ago as this report came out. And if the numbers that you see on your screen is any indicator, murders, right? And for the year, they had 695 murders in 2002 up until December of the 31st to the 22nd, right? 695 people were murdered in Chicago. Now, were all them black? A lot of people assumed, yes, they were. Okay. And the year before had 804. So that's a lot of people, but you got to remember, Chicago is about 2.7 million people in Chicago. It's a lot of people. And you got another variable in there because you have sanctuary cities. You got other people in there. So there's a mellow cocktail happening and could be breeding some bad bloods that they're not talking about, because they're never going to talk about immigration as being an intricate part of some of the things that's happening in some of these cities. They're not going to mention that because that's bad for business, right? But if we look at, when you look at robbery, when you look at burglary and theft. Those numbers are pretty big, ain't they? Huh? They thefts 20,194, burglaries 7,622, robberies 8,996. Oh, why do people need to rob? Why do people need to steal? Why are people thefting? Why are people stealing people's cars? Does it got anything to do with economics? Does it got anything to do with economics? Does it got anything to do with economics? Or is this just inherently something wrong with him? As he gonna say, it has something to do. We're gonna get to the next part of what he talked about. Right? Thanks a lot, sister. So if that be the indicator, theft, burglary, robbery is all about getting something. I got to have it. I got to survive. I need this to do this, right? So we know the baseline that a lot of the problems in Chicago got to do with economics. Now, I'm the only person in here who shows y'all, when you go back, now I want y'all to look at this. I want you to look at this screen. Look at what they were making. This ain't Gen X. This is they being born. Gen X is just coming into the game. They just being born from 65, right? Gen X coming in 65. Look at what their parents were making. And remember, you got to remember, this is the migration from the South. This is the second wave of Black people coming from the South, coming up into those cities. And look what they were paying them. Remember, they couldn't get no real work in the South because the white boy was down there doing everything to prohibit them. So that's why there was the 6 million that left from the South going out into the California, New York, Chicago, the Midwest, right? That's when we were spreading out. Now look at the money they were paying. Look at the money they paying. Hourly salaries, right? Look at this. I want you to see this. Then as it goes up, imagine this, what you get in an hour. And now, so the thing is, when you work, those who know about work, we ain't talking about that. We talking about when you get a quarter raise. Some people getting 10-cent raise. Some people could get lucky if you got $1 raise. But just imagine getting 10-cent quarter raise. How long would it take for you to get $1? That's for every 4 years you work, right? But look at the minimum wage part coming in as they've been working. Okay, look at these numbers, and then you wonder why people ain't got nothing. It ain't because they didn't want nothing. And at that time of Gen X, let me give you another insight about Gen X. Gen X, when they came out of high school, you can go right into the workforce. You didn't need no college. Did you know you could be a policeman coming right out of high school? You didn't need no year of college. They changed that later on that you needed 1 or 2 years of college, right? So Gen X is that generation that was through the high school going right in, okay? You didn't have to have too much of education. There are plenty of factories. We didn't have as many immigrants at that time. So you could lose a job and get another job in another week, right? So, but you're not getting a whole lot of money. Think about the three. Okay, now you see here. Let's go back to that one. Go back that one. You see when that 19. Oh, go back one more. No, go back. You the one that when Gen X first come into the game. No, you got the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Okay, that you're going up. You probably should have one that Gen X coming in. When they get in the game, when 81, matter of fact, yeah, that's it. Go back to that one, 81. You see that where it says 81? Gen X is now becoming teenagers. $3.35 an hour is what Gen X is finna get and make. Do the math for $3.35 times 40 hours a week. Times that 2. Then take Uncle Sam portion out. Take it, some of them might have had union. Go find out what rent was. You understand? And you saying why people poor, and we're talking about Chicago, Detroit, because these, the factories, you got Detroit. Look at what happened to Detroit. We're gonna talk about Detroit too. Look at Detroit. They took the motors out of there, right? When they took the car industry up out of there. Look at how you go now. Go find them videos they're showing Detroit. And look at all them places all banned in them houses. And bet your money, black people was living probably in there too. So a lot of these crimes and all this environment is coming from lack thereof economics. Everybody said, just get a job. Then you influx everybody coming from these places they running. Now they're competing with you. Right? But you said the crime is just something inherently in black people, that black people killing, black men just killing. It's because, again, like their economics, if you got more than I got, and we get into confrontations over that, I'm pretty sure somebody probably gonna get hurt. You coming from a school system that don't teach nothing. Y'all don't believe me? You know who had the worst school system in America? Because remember when Bill Maher sat there and said, he said this. Let me show you on the screen. Remember the words he just said? Let me show y'all something. Let me show you something, man. I'm gonna show you what most of these cats in here won't do. They won't do this with you. Look at the words that Bill Maher just sat there and said, right? That's what he said. We already spend a lot of money on school. So are you going to keep telling me more money will fix this? Because I feel like this is much more connected to the problem of people who can't read. Maher said, yes, they're going to have problems with gainful employment. And it seems like, a lot of times the solution that comes from the left, see, they always want to make it political. See, spin the bottle. It ain't us, it's them. And when it's them, it's them. It's always, point the other way. Point the other way. No, I'm pointing at both of y'all. I don't care about no left and no right. I just see it as a group. It's a group. Race is a group sport. But anyway, so he said left seems symbolic. They don't seem like we're addressing the real what really needs to be done, which is get kids learning, get them reading, get them to have a job. Okay, that sounds, and they clap. Oh, that, you know what I'm saying? That's like watching Jerry Springer just died, right? Jerry Springer said about the crippled children, and everybody clapped. About the babies, everybody clap. Those are just clap words. You say them, everybody gonna clap. So you said it, just get a job. Now let's ask yourself this question. There's 330 million plus people in the United States. We'll say half of that is children. So there's 150, 155, 160, 100, right? So a little more than 165 each. We're going to split it evenly. Okay, well, 165 million each. So that means 165 million adults. Do you think there's 165 million jobs? Answer that question. Are there 165 million jobs? You think there is? You'd be mistaken. So that means even if everybody went to school and got a damn degree, a skill, a trade, somebody got to be designated as going to be them people. So let me say that one more again. 165 million, divide that by 330 million people in the United States. We're going to say 165 down the middle. 165 million adults. Is there 165 million jobs? You know damn well there ain't 165 million jobs in this place, especially when they talk about cutting Google and all them out, right? So there ain't 165 million. So that means that somebody got to be designated as going to be the system that they're going to be poor, so that those we can make these systems of nonprofit and stuff look like they helping to get government funding, right? But it really don't help them because it don't really help them. And so what we're going to do is say, we understand that the situation of economics, but we ain't really can't help them even if you give them some stamps a month. And you give them a little bit of dollars again. That ain't enough sufficient for a grown person. So what does that leave them to do? Crime. Could this be a tactic? Could this be a plan that I can use against you to make you do things? Because who benefits on crime is a question you got to ask. Who are the beneficiaries of crime? Oh, the industry. And who all make their money? You get what I'm saying? So it sounds good, Bill Maher, to say all those things, but the truth of the matter is somebody been designated to be them people. And so what y'all do is y'all publicize and make black people to be like the poster for everything fucked up. That's what y'all do. And y'all bring new people around here and y'all do that shit. And the last show I showed you, they had people that they prop them. Matter of fact, they get them propped up to come here with the assumption that we bad. Remember the black girl said that they teach them about black people the same kind of teaching with 911? They teach them about black people and 911 at the same damn time. So when you see a black person with a white shirt and blue t-shirt, and you see them 3 times, call 911 and we'll come get them. Yeah, she said she's an African. We were mysterious, didn't know nothing about black Americans. So I can't agree that we came from Africa. No matter what y'all keep saying. Right? Because there's no story among Africans telling them about their people. Not one of them ever told you, yeah, my black family told about my family, some of my family went. None of them told you that. You just getting it from the book like Ramaswamy. You're taking what they saying. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. Right? So with that being said, okay, okay. All right. I got you, Sharon. I got you. So with that being said, now I want y'all to see something. Because he want to say people can't read. And he think the problem is can't read. Now, who controls the school system? Who creates the curriculum? Who hires the teachers? And what's the real true agenda of really a school? Going back to the beginning of the show when we talked about what? Remember the agenda of the missionaries. Are teachers missionaries? Is a school like part of Leopold's? You understand? Let me show you something that y'all probably didn't know about Chicago. Listen, let's be right back.
Schools in Chicago are called the worst by education chief. Let me say that one more again. Schools in Chicago are called the worst by education chief. This was done November 8th, 1987. Education Secretary William J. Bennett says Chicago public schools are the worst in the nation and parents should consider private school for their children. His assertion Friday drew mixed reviews from parents, teachers, and officials who were reached by telephone and told of the remarks. Mr. Bennett's critical comments were made at a form of education here, and he repeated them later in the day when reached by telephone in his Washington office. Mr. Bennett said, "Would take a man or woman of steel to clean up Chicago's school system, the third largest in the nation after New York and Los Angeles." "I'm not sure there's a system as bad as the Chicago system," he said. Linda Hallbaker, whose 2 children attend public school, said, "I can't believe he said that. It's an awful thing to say. My kids are very well educated. There are big problems." "I think there's a big problem," said Miss Rosen, who taught in Arizona and Ohio before coming to Chicago. "Suburban schools around us seem to be doing a lot better job. My 16-year-old son is now in a private school and he's much happier." Mayor Hale Washington faulted the administration for some of the school's problems, saying that the cuts in federal funds were partly to blame. When told of the reaction, Mr. Bennett said education has improved on our watch. Mr. Bennett said the public schools would straighten up fast through competition with private schools. 46% of Chicago's teachers send their children to private schools, he said. The people who know the product best send their children elsewhere. Mr. Bennett based his comment on the release last week of high school students' scores on American college tests used by many colleges in considering admission. When the scores of Chicago students were average, half of the city's 64 public high schools ranked in the bottom 1% of schools that gave the test. The spokesman for the Chicago School Board, Bob Sage, conceded that the scores are not where they ought to be, but he added, "We have an overwhelming minority student enrollment. 2/3 come from low-income families, and we also have a higher than normal rate of limited proficiency in English."
All right. So that was in 1987. The chief of the school, who they had just made that position, called Chicago the worst school system in America. Whatever fixed that? Nothing ever fixed that. So it's just been dragging on and dragging on. Now, if that's 87, we done had two people who come that supposed to have represented Chicago, right? Rahm Emanuel and Barack Obama. Now I'm gonna ask you the question. Did they send their kids to the public school system there? You want to hear what Rahm Emanuel said?
Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel chooses private schools for kids. Let me say that one more again. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel chooses private school for kids. This was done July 21st, 2011. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who strongly supports school reform that centers on standardized tests, basic accountability for students, schools and teachers, had decided to send his children to a private school that doesn't obsess on standardized tests. Emanuel, who served the White House as President Obama's chief of staff for a few years, and his wife has chosen, according to a local radio station, CBS News 2 in Chicago, to send their 3 children to a prestigious University of Chicago laboratory school in Hyde Park. In the same school that President Obama's daughter attended when they lived in Chicago, Sasha and Malia Obama now attend the private Sidwell Friends School. The decision were to send your children to school is certainly a personal one, even for public officials, but it is worth publicly noting what public officials who support test-based school reform, including Obama's main education initiative, Race to the Top, chose to do with their own children when given the chance. Obama and now Emanuel opt for schools that do not require teachers to spend hours a week drilling kids to pass standardized tests, and they don't evaluate teachers by how well their students do on those assessments. Education Secretary Arnie Duncan and his wife send their children to Arlington Public School in Virginia. Neither the Arlington Public School System, nor Sidwell, nor the lab schools assess teachers by student standardized test grades, which is a bad idea sweeping the country, encouraged by the Obama administration. When a veteran teacher asked Sidwell whether it ties teachers' pay to test scores, he received this response from a faculty member on April 1st, 2011. "We don't tie teachers' pay to test scores because we don't believe them to be a reliable indicator of teachers' effectiveness." Sidwell knows better, the lab school knows better, Arlington Public School District knows better. In fact, the Chicago Lab School began cutting some advanced placement academic courses, which have an end-of-course exam that can earn a student credit at some colleges with a high score. After a junior in AP US history wrote a column published in the Los Angeles Times in which he declared himself an AP dropout. Why, he wrote, "We don't have time to really learn U.S. history because we're preparing for exams." The school has replaced AP offering in the arts, history, and science department with courses created by faculty members called Advanced Topics, which, according to back-to-school letters to parents last year from high school principal Matthew Horvat, will allow for pursuing topics in far greater depth than they've been able to in the past. At a forum with high school students earlier this year, Manuel said he wants schools to put less focus on standardized tests and welcome sentiment. In fact, Obama himself suggested earlier this year that kids take too many standardized tests. But any policy that makes teachers' evaluation and pay contingents on how well their students do on test scores inherently raises the importance of the test. Wouldn't you think what these public officials say and what they do regarding policies are two different things? Meanwhile, Emmanuel was none too happy about being asked about the choice of his school for his children, as shown when he stormed out an interview with Mary Ann Ahern in ABC Chicago. You can read her account on the moment, but here's one part of it, a retelling of the conversation she had when she called him back after hours after he left the interview in a huff. "My children are private and you will not do this," he said in the receiver. He said, "Other children of public figures, Chelsea Clinton and the Obama girls, have been kept out of the public eye despite media attention on their mission to the Sidwell Friends Academy in Washington, D.C. I tried to explain," he had a point, "but their parents too had to answer the question of what schools they would attend. No one is trying to have lunch with the first children. I also let them know that I felt wrong and bullied during this earlier tirade." "You are wrong and a bully," Emmanuel fired back. "I care deeply for my family. I don't care about you." With that, he hung up the phone. Quite the temper tantrum. As I said earlier, where to send a child to school is a personal family choice. My two daughters went to a private school, Georgetown Day School in Washington, D.C., a city with a public school system that has long had what I consider an unhealthy obsession with standardized tests. Of course, I'm not trying to shove high-stake testing policies down anyone's throat. The problem is not testing itself. What is corrupting public education is the high stakes that are put on the results of standardized tests. In Chicago, Emmanuel's commitment to this will only make things worse in the public schools, but not for his kids.
Back, right? So, again, the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, wouldn't even send his kids to the public school system. He was such appalled by that. He was mad at the reporters, but in that quest, in him answering the question of it, he threw Obama. He said, "Well, when Obama and them kids with it, you didn't have nothing to say." And then he went through the Clintons. He said, "When they went, you didn't have nothing, right?" He said, "Well, we asked all of them, right?" Now, that's the whole thing. It's funny how everybody neglects that part of the part of Chicago. Now, those private schools come out of, now where is the, when you go back to those private schools, wasn't those private schools part of when they were talking about integration and when they were talking about putting black kids and white kids together, they created those private institutions so that they wouldn't have to go to school with black kids? Is that still kind of that today? And then you have some black people who got some money who can send their kids to private school. Some of y'all byproducts of that. Nothing wrong with that. But that was what that institution was kind of created for. So they had to be intermingling with people, right? So in this case, we're talking about the educational aspect of it. He said the problem is they can't read. Well, how can they not able? The reason why they're not reading is because you have standardized tests. The teachers are focused on them tests. You passing the test, not whether you can read, pass the test so they look like they teaching. So you can go to school and not know how to read, but as long as you get the right damn answer, which is, again, our system is made on rote learning, right? R-O-T-E, rote. Mean, remember what the hell I told you and just check the right answer or circle the right answer, right? It ain't really you learn nothing, because remember, go back to what Leopold said in the beginning about them with the missionary. Never teach the nigga to what? To reason. Only teach them how to read, but don't teach them how to reason. So they don't want you to be able to think and to have analytical thinking. They just want you to be able to comprehend, not even really comprehend, just be able to say the word like you can read, right? Matter of fact, if the first word that probably came out of a caveman was fub-wub, fub-wub. What the hell is fub-wub? Four whites by white, like FUBU, fub-wub. Four whites by white. That's the caveman first word was fub-wub. Anyways, right? So my thing is, his economics is tied to the same thing that he talked about. Remember when he said about education and paying all that money? He said, why waste money on that? Well, that's because the system is flawed the way that you're teaching. You're not teaching them to learn. You're just teaching them to have the right damn answer. And so when you say they can't read, which means you're saying they can't comprehend, and so that frustration of somebody who can't comprehend or articulate what they're trying to say, we can only get it to physical. We can get it to gunplay. So is this part of that? And then they tell you about pipeline to prison. So is this all commingled? Is this all some schematic plan by somebody to funnel them in and then just again put the onus on you? Well, the problem is really you. It's not nothing we've done, right? See, it seems that way. So that's the same thing with Vivek trying to tell us about our history. No, somebody like me and you can tell us about what's going on with us, not some other person on the outside looking in. That's called window shopping. You're looking at the mannequin and you say, hey, it look good on you, but you don't know what it is until you get it on. We the mannequin with the clothes on. Ask us, but nobody don't want to ask us because we're gonna make what you try to paint not look so good when we get done with it. So that's just how it goes. Oh, I got a message here. Let's say I got a message from somebody. Okay, fub wub, right? Fub wub. That's for whites by whites. Fub wub. The caveman talk, right? But anyway, so that's how it goes, right? So worse schools in the system, where even the president, when they send his children, the mayor won't send his children. So that means that those who, again, remember I showed them hourly wages, the minimum wage, the ones that came out of Gen X, that came right out of high school, had to get into them jobs. And then as time went on, they stayed there for 10 years, 20 years. Those jobs leave. They don't have the education or the technical skills to go any further. So they kind of stuck. So the children, they come from byproducts of that. They come up out of the crack. And some of them are crack babies. Some of them is the next generation up on deck. They went out there and do it. The system is gathering them up, putting felonies on them. They can't get no job. So what that leads them to? The streets. It leads you to the damn streets. So to say that the problem is it don't matter whether you get a bunch of stars that got some money to just advocate and say, well, why are you killing each other? The thing is, when you're going to take responsibility for the shit y'all created and then have a remedy for that, which is economics. And that sounds like reparations can be the start of that. Once you get the money, and then you can say, look, now y'all can't use that as an excuse, right? You can't use that as an excuse now. But you'd rather say, nah, it has no place. Everybody don't want y'all to have it. Well, what's best for the country? The best thing for this country is if you put black people on par. This place would thrive again. Because what? Let me tell you something. If you let most black people take the onus of their mind off of paying bills, worrying about being evicted, not in want, you might get some new creations. We'll let you have hip hop because we'll create some new shit. But because we're under this, and you got nothing to do. So guess what? Y'all ain't got nothing. There ain't been nothing new since hip hop. Think about that. Black people ain't giving y'all no more new creation is because why? You done stole the magic from them. You done took what the creative source that would make that happen, you done took it and disarrayed it so that you could steal the damn pot liquor of it and try to make it for yourself. And y'all ain't gonna never take it beyond where it's at. I don't give a fuck. What motherfucker y'all get to spit it, it ain't gonna never sound as good until it comes from the soul and spirit of black Americans. You take it, smoke it, or leave it alone. It ain't gonna never be great. They talking about how to say what Donald Trump and them make America great again? Not until black people become whole will this country ever be right again. Yeah. Not until they ever do again. You can take that, whatever, right? Now, one other thing as I move on. Now, you know when they talk about that teen, what they call it, the teen takeover? Did you know that there was a part of the story that they tried to play just so that they could try to substantiate about trying to get rid of those teens down there? Now, again, doing mischievous thing I'm not for, but you can't have a place for them to come, saying free admission and come, and then say y'all can't. We're gonna discriminate against y'all. If a park is open, that's what a park is for, recreation. That's what they come to do, to be a part of the ambiance and whatever events and stuff that you have free for them to come. Don't have it, they won't come. But since you got it, you can't prohibit them from it. And so This is what they put on that story about. That was a little scramble that was down there. And remember those who seen it when it was a white girl and a black dude that they showed. Remember they kept saying that. Matter of fact, listen to this dude right quick. He was on here. Listen to this dude.
But not going to Chicago. I mean, Obama's willing to build that monstrosity of a presidential library and regentrify the place and displace all the black grandmas. But he's not going to go to his hometown that's basically on fire right now?
Because it's not just about black on black crime. And frankly, it's crime coming out of predominantly black neighborhoods in Chicago that is spreading around the city. It's beating a woman to the ground during the feral teen takeover in downtown, a white woman. It's gone beyond that. And I want to go to something, because we've really got to look at these things bigger picture. Brandon Johnson in 2013 spoke at the Socialism Conference. He talked about getting teachers to wear the red T-shirt on Friday, then getting the young people to wear the red T-shirt. I would encourage anyone to do as I did. Go and look at his speech at the Socialism Conference. In 2013, he said this. 10 years later, they found a path for the CTU to put their socialist at the top. And what they did was they used anybody by any means necessary. Black people that are committing these crimes ruin their lives. So let's talk about what happens to those who are, in a sense, incentivized to commit crime. Their lives are over. They will not get a job. They will not get a future. You get companies like Citadel leaving Chicago. Ken Griffin buys a Florida mansion, brings 1,000 jobs that are good-paying jobs out. Now you get an economic desert building. So you're seeing the end of Chicago, and just like Detroit, it lost 25% of its population. Chicago is dying, and this is the death knell of Chicago. Blacks, everyone will suffer, and there's really no future being presented.
All right. So that was him saying that We Boogie put this up here. Let me go ahead and give We Boogie that. Biden is going to make North America just like the rest of the hybridized Latin America. Yeah, well, yeah. I guess you say I guess you're saying we're going to be a third world country, right? We're on the cusp of turning to a third world if something don't turn, and it looks like that's where we're going, and they got it already set up. So I agree with you on that. Said there's no replacement for us without crashing the world. But a lot of people think that we're very pompous when we try to say these things. But the truth of the matter is we've been the catalyst in this fight against what a lot of y'all done already gave up on. We've been persistent in that fight. We know what it is and who it is. Y'all have succumbed or capitulated to it. And so you learn from us, but you done got to the point you to set upon us and learn to the fact that you want to take and replace us. And all you're going to do is, just like the brother We Boogie said, you're going to make this place to be just like the place you left. You get the game, you learn the game. Where you come from, you get the game from the players, and then when it's your turn up the bat, you know how the format goes. You got some of the blueprint, how it works. You can't come in here thinking you're going to replace and bring that blueprint from which you got no record, you got no catalog of what y'all ever done. And so it's only going to fail in the long end, and hell is what we're going to pay in this country because of that. And I already told you last show when, what is that, BRICS? Was that Britain? No, not Britain. Russia. What is it? It's BRICS, right? Brazil. No, it's Brazil, Russia. I know it's South Africa, China, and India, right? When they set that up and they make this money get shorter, we're going to see a lot of exodus running up out of here. A lot of them going to go back home to try to get in that game because you ran like that last show I did. I showed the one person talking about something. That's what immigrants do. We flee from danger. Well, I showed you that the passport is building up where you ain't going to be able to get your ass up out of here. That's going to be the last thing. Now, the thing is, black people we ain't running. We done been here before. Some of us a little brand new. We done been a little pampered. We done forgot what that is. Or you're going to learn how to eat that chicken and rice, boil that chicken and rice in the pot. You know what I'm saying? You're going to learn how to go back to some of them old ways that we did to survive until we can get it right. We done been here before. We was in this country in 1865 when they so-called emancipated us. Ask yourself, where did we go? If you had to leave from the plantation and you was free, where did you go live at? You lived on the streets. And at that time, do you know they had a pandemic? That's something nobody don't talk about. There was a pandemic in 1865 when they released us from the plantations. So we survived that, just like we survived the pandemic today. So now when you hear that story, when they talk about how they got rid of all the Native Americans or the Indians or indigenous, which is really us, that they killed them off with them blankets. Now you done lived through a pandemic and you know everybody ain't gonna die. Right? You know this now. Everybody ain't gonna die. So you know that's part of the story is full of shit. Right? It's full of shit. Now you know that, right? So then where is them indigenous people, the copper colored people called the real Americans? They've been here all the time. It's the people y'all call African Americans. We call Black Americans, indigenous, indigenous, Israelites, a whole bunch of names we got. Everything to keep us discombobulated so you never know who we really is. But you're all against us. And as that brother Wee Boogie said, ain't shit gonna work until y'all do what's right. Kind of like what Whoopi said in that movie, right? Ain't nothing ever gonna go right until you do right by us. So guess what? We built for what's coming. Are you built for what's coming? Because y'all ran from what y'all already did. So we already know it's gonna be an exodus, y'all. Just stay tuned. Right? We Boogie got another. They need to get out of our way. Yeah. We didn't say that till he blew in the face, but the Most High got a way to make that happen. He gonna turn the fire up on the crabs and the motherfuckers start getting out the bucket, right? All right. They're planning to turn all our shit off. Yeah? You right about that shit? I would tell you my personal story, but I tell you when we train, I'm gonna tell you some, yeah, would you say that? Yeah, some real shit going down with me. And I've been doing this, and that's why they make sure they make no money, because they again tap that faucet, and they know eventually they get you in a certain situation. But we'll talk about that another time. We Boogie again. I will be blessed to see us boom again. Oh, well, it's coming. Be patient, young bruh. It's coming. We always got to go through the trials and tribulations. We got to find out what we made of. We already made the test already. You come from the best stock that can make when it come to this. Everybody come here, they ain't got no story. They use our story for their story. So that tell you, we got the greatest story ever told. So that means we come from the greatest something that ain't been told either. We're going to persevere. We're going to get through this. We built for this. We're going to teach them how to get through it. That's the whole point. We're going to teach them how to get through it. Anyway, let me get back to this, y'all. And so, all right. So again, you heard him say, he talked about Chicago that he threw in, right? Again, he one of them bootlicking rhetoric types. And he threw in, oh, how they jumped a little white girl. All right. He said, now you heard him say that. I hope it was loud enough for y'all to hear because we're a little low on my end too. He said they jumped the little white girl, right? Did they jump the white girl? Look, did they jump the white girl? I want you to see this.
We were just downtown in Chicago trying to shop, trying to get some food. And we were walking down the street, and there was a really big group of guys, a really big group of people.
Girls.
Yeah, guys and girls. And, DJ had my hand, and he was trying to lead me through the crowd of people. And they pushed him, they pushed me. And as soon as they pushed me, I told DJ, I said, hey, they just shoved me. And he asked them, he was like, yo, don't shove her, who shoved her? And as soon as he said that, everything went crazy. They said they're gonna kill us. They turned around and, started fighting, So sorry. I got pushed down to the ground, and I got pushed down to the ground, and the whole group of people went to DJ, not me. Like, I have a lot less injuries than he does because I was more of a bystander than anything, but everyone went for him, and it ended up in the middle of the street. They were jumping him in the middle of the street. It got pretty bad.
Right, now you heard through her own mouth. Did you not hear with her own mouth? But yet the bootlicking got on Fox News and said that they jumped the white girl. He didn't even mention the brother, that the one that was getting beat up. He got beat up actually for her. How many times in our history have we heard where something happened, like Tulsa, Oklahoma happened because of a white girl, did it not? Say, was in the elevator saying the man tried to rape, right? That whole situation create that. How many stories? Emmett Till, right? Wasn't that all about somebody saying something, right? And here she is telling the story. She tried to, oh, there was a bunch of men. They were jumping. He said, no, there was girls too. Oh, yeah. There was girls too, right? Again, what was she trying? Who was trying to get her to do something and say something? Now, she tell you in that, if you could have heard her, she said they were going through, they seen a crowd of people. They all was down there. Those of us who from Chicago know about that being downtown and how it be crowded like that. Okay, you know what it is. You got to go through a whole crowd of people. So you hold the hand of the person with you, and you just kind of making your way through. That's what he did. Got her hand, making her way through. Now, as you going through a crowd like that, you may get bumped. You might get pushed a little bit. Okay, she said somebody pushed her. She tell him, hey, they pushed me. Man with his woman. He said, hey, who pushed her? Wait, these teenagers now, who pushed her? They're like, who are you talking to? Right? So what they do, oh, and they looking who you with? Hey, boy, you about to catch, you're going to catch a couple of these right quick, right? So that's what they did. Now, I'm not condoning the violence. I'm just saying that's what happened. She got him in something instead of just saying, okay, she could have told her later, one of them pushed me as we were going through that. But for him to try to swell up with a crowd of people out there, she put his ass in danger. She put him in danger. And all that, she tried her best to wedge herself in there to make it seem like they attacked her. No, she fell to the ground. They passed right over here and everything was on him. Remember, he went into the street and they was out in the street. She really just was a bystander. But they try to sell the fact that they jumped her. I'm not condoning the beating the young brother up, but I think they gave it to him because they was like, you finna take up with her like that? You finna try to fight all of us for that? You understand? I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, right? She sent you on a mission, as we say. She sent you on a mission. And they answered the bell. And another sister came and saved you and took you to the police station and everything, right? So again, but why was the media trying to sensationalize, to beat the white girl, that's so in the stress? To sensationalize and make nothing but animals downtown. It's a bunch of rambunctious teenagers, whether they white, Chinese, I don't care, you get a whole bunch of them together, they're going to be doing some fuck shit. But you like to stress the ones in Chicago because of whatever programs that have been situated from the school system to lack there of for jobs, economics, creating and putting the drugs for the crack, and then bringing the guns. You understand? That's a hellified cocktail for the things that you want to keep crying about. And then when you understand about municipal corporations and how you got to have an area that needs police in order to suffice to get tax money for it, that's why they keep always saying Chicago, 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 Chicago. Because they got to have a place that has crime, high crime, to justify having that police force. You don't put police force where white people at. You only put the police force where black people at. Right or wrong? Oh, I got some messages up here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm over here. Oh, my fault. Reed Boogie. Okay, let me throw these up on there. She didn't get no lumps. No, she didn't taste none of that. She didn't get no pumpkin head deluxe. She didn't get none of that. She should have got a pumpkin head deluxe. You sitting there acting like you got it. Your head should have been looking like Martin, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like she didn't get no lumps, but she ended up reporting and trying to twist this narrative, and yet they never mentioned the young black man got beat up because of her. And to hear that coon bootlick getting on TV trying to say, oh, they just beat up the poor white woman. And she told you she didn't catch no lumps. She didn't catch a lump. And yet you was on there sensationalizing that. That's what they do. And so when white people be on here saying these things, we be looking at you like, y'all get all y'all news from them. You don't get it from us because they don't want the truth. They want the way to slant. And then you buy it and you live that shit. You believe that shit. And we be looking at y'all like, okay, if you want the truth, come over here. We'll tell it to you. That's why we the most suppressed. That's why the black corner don't get the views of everybody else, because we the only ones that's really gonna tell you what it is and what we got to lie for. What benefit do we get from lying? No, just sometimes you don't like that reflection of that mirror with that sunlight in your eyes. It hurts. We get it. We get it. Sister Chair says, yes, they create the problems, then act like they are bringing the solutions. 100 all day. That's all day. That's what they do. They create it and want to see the cause and be the effect and the cause, and want to be the solution and the answer. Yeah. That to me, that's kind of a sickness that somebody got. So let's move on now, right? To this part here. Now, they also keep talking about the new mayor. He just got elected. He just got elected. He ain't even sat in the seat one day. He ain't sat in the seat one day, and they've been rah-rahing his name. You know what I'm talking about, right? Brandon Johnson, right? Right? That brother right there, right? Now, those who know about Chicago, the last time Chicago had a black mayor, we ain't talking about Lori Lightfoot. She's black, right? And she did what she could do. And then, there's a lot of shit they said about her. They ended up thinking with that sanctuary city, just a lot of mess, right? So, okay. But the last time that Chicago had a mayor, a black man as a mayor, do anybody know when? The first black mayor of Chicago? Y'all know who that is? That was this brother right here. That was Harold Washington. And those who from Chicago during the Harold Washington era, let me tell you something. Why y'all want to talk about Chicago and talking shit about Chicago then? Harold had that city running. Matter of fact, let me tell you an inside story. Before Harold Washington won that race, Harold Washington took a .38 pistol, set it on the table. He had all the gang members, he had all the activists, and he had all of them. He set them on the table. He said, if I don't do everything I tell you I do, you take that .38 pistol, you blow my brains out. That's how real Harold was. That's how real Harold Washington was. So just imagine you got that kind of brother in that seat. That city finna change, and what's finna happen is, the allocations and all the things that everybody been taking advantage of, from them dailies and all that, the table's finna turn. So you know what they was doing against that, brother? They was calling it the council wars. They was in there, what they did, call it Badoliak 29, where the whites and the one Hispanic area combined together to go against everything that him and against blacks. So when people who ain't from Chicago and those who are from Chicago, we know race. We know what that's about. We know the politics in that. And so when they was doing that, because why? They want to stifle everything he was going to do so that why? You ain't going to benefit. That's the dirtiness in that. So guess what? So his terms, in that first term, he was fighting them, had to go to court and all that with them to keep him so that he couldn't get nothing done. And guess what? As soon as Harold Washington won that second term, when in April of 87, and then one day in November of 87, he went to work and died at his desk after drinking some coffee. And he got rid of that council that was prohibitive. He had now full reign to get everything he was going to do. And mysteriously, Harold Washington was dead. But see, white people try to tell you, Chicago. No. Somebody don't want that to run in the benefit of certain people. Oh, no. I don't want that run in that certain kind of way. Right? So now you got a new brother coming in there who is about the people. Oh, so now he came in already said, he talking about now we're gonna do something about this police, and we for the people. He from the Chicago Teacher Union, and their motto has been with the working class. Remember the one I talking about all the poor, the people ain't got that, and that's how they was able to get Rahm Emanuel out, right? Now they done put one of theirs up in there. So there may be some changes, but there may not be the changes that some people want. So keep your eye on Chicago and see what this brother here gonna try to do, because it could be the reinventing of Harold Washington. But you know, there's a big exodus. A lot of people are leaving Chicago. A lot of businesses are leaving Chicago because of seeing how they show all of a sudden when Lori Lightfoot lost, all of a sudden now all the big boxes is getting the hell up out of there, right? Say, oh, they weren't making no damn profit. Well, all this time you ain't been making no profit all of a sudden now. But that could be another thing for something that's coming, because those are the conspiratorial understanding know that when they talked about empty Walmarts, what they said they were going to use them empty Walmarts for. Huh? Did anybody know that? I ain't going to say it. I mean, I'm going to say if you know. Remember those are the conspiracy land they used to talk about empty Walmart stores? And they just told they closed about 4 in Chicago? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Right? So that's how it goes, right? Got a message here. We know what happened to Mr. Washington. Go ahead, go and put that up. Oh, my fault, Mr. Wee Boogie. Sister Cher said, we know what happened to Mr. Washington. Yeah. They ain't never did no story, and Harold been gone, what, 40? Is it 40? No, 30. About 35 years, 36 years. Ain't did no story on him yet? Strange. Wee Boogie said, it's us against the foreign invaders, just like the early 1900s, them lynching and stealing again. I knew stay tuned, brother. Stay tuned. Right? So again, Brandon Johnson, and he didn't get it one day, and they want him to sue the white people and say that he's for them and for police, and he's going to tame the animals. And you know what Brandon Johnson's motto is? He said about, do you know, if you go look up, there's an article that he did back in 2014. And in that article, it's not enough to I think how did he say it? I think it's not enough to patch poverty, right? It's not enough to patch poverty. You go read that. It's an article back in 2014. Patching up poverty, trying to make it look good. He said the solution is, he said he knows that there's been a lot of money that had not trickled down that they know that he gonna go get. So we finna find out what type of individual he is, because he said he for them people. He for his people. And he talks about the disparity and how the allocation and how this city hasn't done its right with them. So we about to see. So what they're trying to do is send the alarm off to try to make him stay busy so he can't do it. So that's why they like, hey, he's not doing it. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. Well, we going to see, right? We going to see. We about to see. So like I said, keep your eyes on Chicago and see what happens. Yeah, we know how it goes. Exactly, we know exactly how it goes. So that's that brother there, Brandon Johnson. Like I say, stay tuned to him. We're gonna find out what he's gonna do some good work on that. Now, we already at the almost 3 hour mark. I didn't want to really go this long, but it is what it is. So, you know, there's another brother. When I talked about earlier about Detroit, there's another brother. I don't know if y'all know about him, because I'll be watching some of this stuff. It's all on the internet now. Have you ever heard this brother here, Eric Mays? Let me show you what they did to him. When you're talking about having somebody who represents the people and go in there and fight and say, again, they act like they say playing politics, but if you going in there and you really try to really get something for the people, Look at what they do to you.
City Councilman Eric Mays sentenced to 6 months probation for disorderly conduct. It stems from a city council meeting about a year ago, where Mays was escorted out by police after refusing to leave the meeting unless he was handcuffs. Well, following a council vote to remove him that night, the prosecution had their say prior to the sentencing.
I don't think that Mr. Mays can point to a single thing that his behavior in this meeting or his behavior in city council meetings in general has brought about a tangible benefit to his ward or the city. So it's certainly not good governance.
Now, Mays was also ordered to take a breaking process class, pay court fees, and
All right, so listen to this now. That's Eric Mays, but listen to what really happened.
Councilman Eric Mays gets no jail time for disorderly conduct conviction. Let me say that one more again. Flint Councilman Eric Mays gets no jail time for disorderly conduct conviction. Flint, Michigan. Flint Councilman Eric Mays will spend 6 months on probation but no jail time for a disorderly conduct conviction, and the judge who sentenced him on Tuesday, April 25th, says other members of the city council were wrong for removing him from a meeting where the conduct took place. Janice District Judge Vicky Bay Haley sentenced May on Tuesday after turning down his request that she set aside the verdict of a 6-person jury that convicted him on a misdemeanor last month. Mays, who represented the city's first ward, faced a possible 90 days in jail after police escorted him from the meeting in handcuffs exactly 1 year ago today. He was right. He did have the right to stay in his seat. The city council made the wrong ruling. But I can't control that, Bay Haley said during the sentencing. He wasn't highly disruptive. He just didn't leave his seat. So I wouldn't call it disruptive as much as he just delayed the meeting somewhat. Ideally, I would like to have some type of coach or person come in and work with the entire council to try to teach them how to work together. It would be nice if they could do that on their own, the judge said, but I don't have the jurisdiction over what they do. Mays, who acted as his own attorney during his 2-day trial last month, has repeatedly clashed with members of the council and has been removed from several meetings this year after having been ruled disorderly and for insulting his colleagues. The councilman has argued that his removal from the April 25, 2022 meeting was unjustified and that he was treated differently than other council members have been when he was ordered to leave by President Ali Herkenroder. Herkenroder, who had warned Mays for using profanity early in the same meeting, ordered the councilman to leave because she said he left his council seat and attempted to return without permission. But video from the meeting showed Mays spoke to Herkenroder after she issued him his first warning. May, I asked to be excused because you won't get the pleasure of throwing me out, May said before leaving the meeting. Yes, you may be excused, replied Herkenroder. Whether she intended to lie or was mistaken, he did have permission to leave and return, Bay Haley said Tuesday. Herkenroder has told MLive, the Flint Journal, previously that she did not give Mays permission to leave and return to the meeting, but was responding to his decision to leave the meeting on his own. Bay Haley said Mays' action after the council decision could be considered disorderly conduct because he delayed the meeting, requiring police to remove him rather than leaving voluntarily. May said Tuesday that he was satisfied with the outcome of the case, but a special prosecutor said the judge was wrong to focus on the action of the council and not May's behavior. The judge pretty much got it right. The judge knew that I had the right to sit in my seat, and I had the right to return to my seat, May said. She said on the record the council was wrong, and that's all I've been saying. Ken Scott, an attorney who represented Mays as Tuesday's sentence, urged Bay Haley to give the councilman a light sentence, contending he's guilty only of standing up and fighting for the poor people in his ward. Special Prosecutor Michael Gledner told the judge that she should consider jail time for Mays, who has a 10-year council track record of disrupting city business. In that 10 years, the city has gone in and out of insolvency, is careened from crisis to crisis. If he's not fighting with former Councilman Scott Kincaid or former Mayor Karen Weaver or Diane Whaling, then he's fighting with current council members like Quincy Murphy, Denise Pfeiffer, and Liddell Lewis. If person A is having a problem with person B and person C and person D, it's not person B, C, or D's problem. It's person A's problem, Gilner said. Mr. May is the problem, not all of these other individuals. In addition to probation, Bay Haley ordered a fine of less than $500 to Mays, which she said can be paid over time and other terms of probation.
So, all right, so that there is a story about Eric Mays, Councilman Eric Mays of Detroit. All right, now I suggest a lot of y'all go over there and watch those councils. You see this brother here, man? This is the kind of brother that we need representing us. Those of you who never heard of him, you got plenty of videos. Go over there and look Eric Mays and see that, and you'll see that brother in there battling, and you'll see that the, let's say, bootlick rhetoric ones, you'll see how they work against him. And his popularity is growing because there's a lot of, things he in there, and it's just, I promise you, if you go watch the videos he got, you'll tell me later and say, I'm glad you showed me this, brother, because we need to have people of our people to learn to play the same game that he's in, and he's calling it like he see it. He'll tell them white folks, y'all in here, you're stealing money. He do it all, right? And what they trying to do now, he's a senior councilman, 10 years, while the rest of them are just newly elected. And because of his eldership and knowing the game, they don't like it. And even some of the ones that are of his same cloth like us, they have problems with him because he can see the angles that, let's say there's five, let's say I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's like 5 blacks, and I think there's like 3 to 4 whites. So in order for something to pass in the council, they need at least 5 votes. So a lot of times they get 2 from the black side to get the stuff for the other side, and there's always blocking everything when it comes to the other side, and you'll see him wheeling and dealing and doing stuff. So what they're trying to use is, you know how it is, the angry black man. Oh, Mr. Boyman, he's loud and he's obnoxious, and right, he's the angry black man, but it's not angry. What it is it's a spirit that those of us who have, that what you hear from me is not something that some people say, well, you're just talking, and okay, you say what you want to say. I do what I'm doing for me and for what I'm here to do. But people like that, a lot of people are agitated with that, because what happens is you start cutting like a knife through a lot of the bullshit that they be doing. And so you know how people call you out, or you calling people out, and they get upset. So what they did is they come in cahoots to try to get rid of him in the technicality ways, like he didn't sit in the seat. That's not some kid shit, right? He wouldn't sit in the seat, teacher. He wouldn't sit his ass down. So I told him, and so he went back and then try to get him to go to jail for 90 days. Now you heard in the story where they said he was right. The judge agreed. He had the right to do what he did. And matter of fact, the article said, we believe you lied because the tape didn't even substantiate what you said. So how was he still getting probation and had to pay a fine? Did y'all catch that? He still was right, but still had to pay the fine, and they still gave him probation and had to pay. Huh? See, that's the things. See, when Vivek, Ramaswamy, when you try to tell our history about stuff, no, you gotta let us tell our story. We know our story. If they write it, they're gonna write the way they spin it in the way that, well, he was disruptive. He was not, being what was the term that they use in there? A good counsel, or good something they said, right? And so it was like, okay, but the thing is, young ones can learn by observing and seeing how things are being done. We don't have many, but his is out there on the internet for you to see, and it's also entertaining. Because he like you. He's just like you. He cut from you. So he talks. He don't let them get away. He gonna talk about gaslighting. He gonna crack you the hell up. How the white woman say, well, you and he like gaslighting with, he goes into this long diatribe, but it's funny, but he's making this point, and it's like, how you gonna talk about something that a term that we made up? You don't even know how to use it properly. So it's like they don't like the fact that, again, we could be intimidated to a lot of people. A lot of people don't like masculine black men because we're not gonna take your shit. We're gonna give it to you for how you serving it, right? And so it's not again to be threatening. You getting your share cut of the damn pie. We want our share cut of the damn pie. But it seems like if we stand up too strong, too straight, had a little bit too much bass in my voice, we need to get rid of him, right? You don't want fair play. You want the game slanted and rigged so it's always in your favor. You never had that time for that. This is a new day. And we're going to raise up, we're going to prop up, and we're going to get it right. And as them going down again, the first time that was heard in this black corner about the extinction of the white race, you can always say, those of you who subscribe to me, Mr. Blows Your Mind did that show April 1st, 2014. And that's why I can't get 100 views no more. Because I told you something that was, again, back in 2014. And they penalized me ever since from that. Now, how you help me is liking the video, sharing the video, commenting. That's the only way. I've been 2009 for over about 4 or 5 years. Get subscribers that go right away. They take them away. It's all right. I ain't in here for that. For those who the message is for, you hear it. Those who don't get it, that's okay. It ain't made for everybody. It ain't calibrated for everybody. We Boogie says, love Mr. Mays give us an idea of an old guard, black people in power. Exactly. I'm telling you, go watch Mr. Eric Mays, Councilman Eric Mays of Detroit, because you got to remember, he was there when they did the crisis, water crisis. And remember, I did that show for those who was around when I showed you when they gave that settlement of $626,500,000 to Detroit, and they didn't give none to the people. They gave it to the businesses. Remember that, right? And remember, I showed you about Moses came in there with the water. That somehow the water that he came in there with the water machine, and it broke. You remember all that? Right? So again, people will sit here and tell you, oh, why are you killing each other? Why y'all this and why y'all that? And then when we come with the remedy to fix and do right, somebody always come and sabotage it. Every time, it never fails. Miss Washington says they wanted our men to be cowardly, soft, etc. Get the fuck out of here. That's my sister right there. Right? And one more about her. Do you have your own well? I wish I had my own land. You understand what I'm saying, sister? I don't even have my own land, right? You know what I'm saying? But no, I wish I did have my own well. You understand? Because we know, matter of fact, I can go back about 20 years. I had a brother, he done passed now. And he said the war gonna be about water. He right. The war gonna be about that water. Because it's gonna be about being able to get accessible, drinkable, clean water. Because a lot of this already got a chemical. Remember the show I did? I told you about the undestroyable chemical in the water already, right? Something already in the water that's indestructible. And what is it for, though? That's the whole point. You understand? When somebody's strategically planning it, using it, it's kind of like going to McDonald's. You get a burger, fry, and a drink, right? But those three concoctions could be like a concoction to make something manifest itself. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes, like in the hood, we can eat hot Cheetos, right? Hot Vietnamese chips and shit, right? And those little juices. But if you go in the white neighborhoods, you can't get none of that. So why you get that with the, remember back in those who've been around, remember number 7 red was, they had to take that out. Remember back in the day, red we used to call it number 7 red. Come to find out it was cancerous. But remember all the stuff that they give black people, a lot of that stuff got the red in it. Yeah, I know. Mr. Blowman, I know, y'all. I know. Do you have a private website? That the first video of yours that I saw about a white extinction, I didn't mean well. Okay. Yeah, that was somebody who took that video, passed it on his. I actually got the front of that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Sharon. I put that extinction of the white race. He took it and he presented to his people to say, from my position, was I right? He didn't disagree. He just said he's telling the truth. And a lot of white people who seen that, they didn't talk shit to me. What they said is, do my people understand what I'm telling them? And so it got to the point that they kept community striking me because they didn't want y'all to know. And then it's funny how some years later, then everybody started talking about the extinction of white race when y'all knew I had been said that years before that it was coming. Matter of fact, the name of the video was Extinction of the White Race Approaching. And remember, I told you that it was on the cusp, it was coming. Because remember, they were going through that whole thing with the opium and all that. Well, not opium. Well, I guess the Chinese was getting them back for the opium war when it's really said and done. But that's another talk on another time. But that's what it was about, right? And so they penalized me. And so anybody, you can go look, you can say, man, this brother been around too damn long. How the fuck he can't get 100 views? Why are you stuck at 2,900? I seen everybody that y'all seen. I done seen all of them come in. And not one of them put their hand out and put a leaf and say, hey, Mr. Blowman, come on my show. Let me introduce you to my audience. Not one damn time. Because why? No, they're not going to do that. And I'm not looking for them to do that. But I'm just saying, as brotherly, sisterly, I thought somebody would have did that. They ain't going to do that. But it's okay. I don't come here, but I come here again. Those who hear the message is for you. Those who don't want it, that's fine. You ain't got to hear it. So anyway. So let me go ahead and finish. I'm already 3 hours. Y'all in here get me dragging. Yes, they are putting poison in those hot chips, etc. Okay. Right. Vintners, hot Cheetos, a lot of them red hot chips. Your hands be soaked. You be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Your hand be all red. You know what I'm saying? And we like, oh, the hot. No, what's this? What is this stuff they putting? See, again, if those of us who have worked in warehouses and you know how certain products got to go to certain areas, you can't mix up, right? Everything has been labeled. So if you fucking around and take something, put it somewhere else, and somebody else get it, they're going to know because certain things might be designed for certain people. But everybody not privy to that. They don't really think about it. That was a beautiful, you know the thing about that, Sharon? That video, if I would have did that later on, it came out excellent, but I didn't have the technology that I had at that time. If I had what I had now and did it, it would have been even more. But I'm thankful that you appreciated it. But a lot of people didn't see it, and there's a lot of people just thinking like, "Why are you embarrassing yourself? Why you still be coming on? You can't even get." It's because I'm gonna do a show real soon, and I'm gonna show you how they do my videos. When I do this video, it's gonna go dead for so many hours. It's gonna pop back up. It's gonna go dead for a few more days. And I can only average in 60 days, I don't even get 1,000 impressions. You know what impressions are? Impressions are them letting the thumbnail be seen by people. It takes us over 2 months for them to show 1,000 impressions of my video. That's how bad they suppress me. And yet my click-through rate is high. So they won't show it because they know people will click on it. You get what I'm saying? So people want to say that race is a figure of our imagination, that we make shit up and that it really don't. No. I am the example in YouTube as a creator to prove to you this the YouTube. Oh no, they ain't no different. They ain't no different. What did we? Oh, we boogie just said okay. Yes, each of these urban centers get targeted by Negro gatekeepers and foreign colonizers. All day, every day, right? The urban centers. And then again, they use them to be the facilitators to us. Because see, we can't get the stores, so we go to Apu. We go to Yum Yum, right? We go to Apu and Yum Yum, and they give us the stuff. And they be the drug dealer pusher to us and the stuff that we're getting. And then they say, oh, you guys got the worst medical, you got high blood pressure, you got diabetes. I guess so. The motherfucker that's selling it to us is giving it to us. But guess what? We live in food deserts. See, like thing about Chicago is food deserts would be places that you go to the corner store, you get some chips, you can get some candy, cigarettes, lottery, pop, but you can't get no fresh meats and you can't get no good ass motherfucking fruit, right? So when your diet is consistent of fast food and eating Harold's and all that shit, what happens? Over accumulation of time. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you don't make it where it's easy for somebody to go make those places because, again, you got to be stamped approved by the system to even have a place. So people have them, and then what ends up happening is somehow they lose it, right? So many different ways, so many different things. They were scared. Shane Washington say, yeah, wow, damn, okay. I understand I'm almost always shadow banned. And facts by Wee Boogie. Right. So that's just what it is, y'all, man. I mean, we understand under the conditions that we under. We know what we fight on the daily. It's not popular. It's never going to be politically correct to say the things that I'm talking about. That's why I'm the most hated show in the black corner of the YouTube. I'm going to say the things that I see in the news, the racial lies, the connection of the parts of the history, because, again, I'm not one of those who's going to sit there and say, we know it all. We already know the problem. No, we don't. If we knew the problems, then you could come with a solution. You got to know the problems. In order for a mechanic to fix your car, you could tell him what's wrong, but he still got to go through to see what it is. Even though you may think what it is, but the mechanic still got to go. The doctor, you could tell the doctor, they got to run the test to figure it out, right? So the same thing here. But, that's but we're not supposed to be smart to put shit together. They give us, okay, Shannon says they give us all the crap. We definitely are the chosen people. Wee Boogie say they snatched 3 large supermarkets off of Crenshaw over the last 25 years. Exactly. Again, just like the big box in Chicago, they took all the Walmarts. They saying they were not making no profits. Well, how are you gonna make profits when you know that the people that you are having the residents that's going to be really patronizing are not really economically, let's say sound. They're not economically sound, and so you're not going to be looking to get into a real profit because they're going to always buy the things that are of necessity and what they can afford. So they're not going to get a lot. So when they take those things out there, those be those stores that really serve those communities where they can get some quality. So now that you're taking them away, again, like I said, for those who are the conspiracy part, understand what they was talking about back in the days when they said those big box stores would be used in a time later on for something else. That's your homework if you don't know. Go look and see what I'm talking about. They said when those stores would be used at a time that's coming where they will be housing. So it's kind of ironic that all of a sudden a lot of these places are closing. Love you too, my sister. Love you too. How do they know they are telling the truth about the profit bullshit? Exactly. How do we know? Right? So again, maybe the plan was if the person who was going to be the mayor was going to stay, and how they were funneling in when you think about the let's say the sanctuary cities. Right? That's an underground movement that's really happening right in front of everybody's face. And a lot of us is going to get X'd out because the companies are the ones supplying them. Think about it. Remember, they was bringing them all in, and then also they was taking them in hotel. Well, who the hell paying for all that shit? Right? So okay, so there's the country making money. They get application fees. They making off immigration. And then the people who are housing them organizations, and then the jobs are getting them undercut because you can't give the real Americans, you can't give them that, and then they don't get no benefits and all that stuff. So we're gonna give you because you just need some money because where you came from, you couldn't get a peso. You come here, and even if I give you $7 or $8 an hour, that's way better than what you had when you left from. So you're gonna be having gratitude for that, but that cuts out those who've been here. Matter of fact, I showed you in 1751 what Ben Franklin told you about the time of the plentifulness of the country and the expansiveness. But he said, if you keep bringing more people in here, as time go on, the indigenous, the natives will get exiled, and their children won't be able to have a place for them to work. That's why you see all those kids downtown Chicago. They ain't got no work. They teenagers. Do you know back in the day when we was teenagers, you go take your ass to McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Kmart, Woolworth, Walmart. Those would be the stores that teenagers work. Today, grandmama working in there, mama working. You get what I'm saying? So now and then you got the unflex other people coming underneath. So you see what's happening here? We see what's happening, right? We Boogie say appreciate direct confrontation to game their running. Thanks a lot, brother. I try to do it. I try to come on as much as I can. I fight through a lot of stuff, but I appreciate you being here as well. Now, let me go ahead and let me finish up this here because I already 3. This here, well, let me do this interlude and we're going to get in this. Now again, for my people, for my cut of my cloth, you might know what that song is, don't you? You know what that song is, an old school song. But anyway, right, so this here, I'm going to just say, because I've seen so many shows and I see everybody kind of off. A lot of people say they be on target, right? I'm going to give y'all exclusive, allegedly, but only you won't be able to know whether it's true or not. I have to say allegedly. Now, we all just seen how Leo DiCaprio testified in that federal case against the rapper accused of funneling millions of dollars, right? Where they end up convicting him, right? Right? That the prize, right? Trying to find out the agents, right? And you know, I'm deep. I don't want to go too much on. So in it, they talk about how Leo DiCaprio came in, 48-year-old. He was an actor, testified, right, about a casual conversation that he once had with J-Ho Low regarding about millions of dollars he planned to donate to Obama, right, for his re-election campaign, right? It was a significant sum, something to the tune of $20 to $30 million he testified, right? Wow, that's a lot of money. Now, he went in there testifying, right? Leo DiCaprio went in there and testified against Prize, right? He went in there and testified, right? Leo DiCaprio went and testified against him, right? Now, I don't be into all this business here, but I just seen something really strange. And I just wanted to pose it to y'all because, again, I see everybody still missing it. I can't say 100. I just going to say it is, right? So we know that he ended up, they convicted. That was a fast-ass case. If you ask me, that shit went in, boom, he locked up, right? So, you know, they accuse him that he's an agent, right? Worked with the Chinese, funneling money. And again, they were talking about Obama, right? They're saying that the person he was with was trying to get him to funnel money to Obama. And I was like, okay, all right. So now, recently, we heard that, you know, Jamie Foxx went in a hospital, right? Right? Jamie Foxx went in a hospital. But I seen a connection line here. I seen, okay, I know that, let's see, how can I put this? Okay. I see they knew each other, right? I don't know if you've seen the picture. I'm just showing y'all. Again, this allegedly. I just was wondering how he got like that. And I'm not saying nothing. And just look, right? You look in that picture. You see somebody in there. You see him in there, right? Right? Let me see. Okay, right? And then right, there's another picture. You'll see them. They cool. So him and that homie, they cool, right? Him and that homie cool, right? But he cool with him too, right? He cool with him too, right? Remember, he went in there and he did what? He testified on him, right? Right? He testified on him in the court case, right? And we know through this, he cool with him. And he cool with him. And he also cool with him. He cool with him too, right? All right, listen to this.
And I get the feeling you fully enjoy that kind of side of life. Would I be right in thinking that you appreciate the benefits?
The benefits, man. Getting in the clubs and, I mean, you know,
let me ask you this.
Restaurants. And
I think I know the answer to this, but let me ask you this. Where did you spend New Year's Eve?
Well, you know what? Oh, yeah. You're talking about like this past
This is the benefits of being a superstar.
Yeah. I got a friend, you know, he got some money. And he flew me, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, and some other cats, and we flew to Australia, right? And we did the countdown in Australia. G'day, mate. How are you, mate? Jamie, g'day, mate. So we did the countdown in Australia, then jumped back on a plane, and then did the countdown in Vegas. That's crazy.
So he had, that's how famous he is. He had 2 New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
that's successful
crazy.
you are now.
That was
2
nuts.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But
Oh, you heard out his own mouth. Some dude he know had a lot of money. Matter of fact, he was able to do a double New Year's. Went to Australia and New York. They celebrate 2 different New Years in the same day, right? Big party, right? I don't know if y'all can see that good or not, but I see being the party. I see my man at the bottom. I see the man at the top, right? All right. Okay. So, is there any chance by, 6 degrees of separation? All of a sudden, my man, you know what I'm saying? I don't really do this, but I could do this. I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying. I'm trying not to do that. I just seen it was strange, and still to this day, nobody found what it is. But I said, okay, but then the narrative had been kind of switching a little bit, saying about some other stuff. So I'm just like, him cool with him, they all cool together. You testified, right? This one, and it's the same dude that he talking about there, you get what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And it was about the cat that cat he was hugged up with, right? Okay. So we'll see in time, was Mr. Blow Your Mind right? I ain't said everything. I just hope you can read in between. And we'll see later on. I'll be like, did I not tell y'all that? Did I not tell you that? But okay. So anyway, let's see. Sharon says they give less pay, but then they let them pile up in apartments with 2 bedrooms. Oh, yeah, they always. Isn't that something though, Sharon? They would you couldn't have a man in the house to get aid, but these other people could come here with a man in the house, get aid, and get every other. They've been doing it. We know, but like I said, nobody want to hear our part of the story. They like the story that society likes to tell to make us look like the bad guys, so that they can justify why they hate us and say that we ain't shit. But when we tell the real story, nobody want to believe it. Say, oh, you guys are bickering, you're crying, you're always using race. No, we just like saying that shit. It just sounds good. It feels good, roll up your tongue. Some way, easy. E did. Oh, okay. Okay. Same way Easy E did. Yeah. But the thing is, right? The thing is with that, he might be implicated. See, it's like this. The lesson to that is this. Sometimes you gotta vet who the fuck you fucking with. You can be fucking with somebody. All right, let's put it this way. Let me get the best scenario I can give you. You ever had somebody riding in the ride when your partner's with you, right? And they got a boy and he coming with him, and this first time you meet homie and he riding with you. But the police pull you over and you already know what you got in your ride. You ain't got shit in your ride. You know how your boy know how the program go down. But his partner, he dirty. That nigga put the shit up under your seat. Police come check the car, you get caught with it. Now, who you finna be mad at? Nigga behind you that planted you, or the nigga that brought him? You get what I'm saying? So if he brought him, you get what I'm saying? And you didn't know, and you just a part of some shit, you were just an accomplice. But then maybe come to find out you did know he had it. And that's how I'm looking at that situation. I believe there may be some ties somewhere, and all of a sudden to be like that, and then, like I said, he went up there and testified. Was he gonna be called up? Because they done already shut that case, and he already gone off, sent them up already. He's like, damn, that was fast, right? So I don't know. Maybe in time things will come out. Maybe it won't. But I'm just saying that seems to be the mystery that seems to make anything justified about that situation. But take it or leave it alone. That's up to you. So now Prize is he's Haitian, right? And this is gonna be the end of my show after this one. Let me show y'all. Did y'all hear about this? Now Prize is from Haiti. Did y'all hear about the mob killed 13 suspected Haitian gangsters with gasoline and tires? Let me say that one more again. Did y'all hear about the mob killing 13 suspected Haitian gangsters with gasoline tires? Oh yeah, sure did. Yeah, they had them. Yeah, let me see that picture there. See how they laying down there? They was down there terrorizing, doing all kind of shit, terrorizing the community. And when they got done, that's what was left. That was left. That's what happened when you know what I'm saying, you turn against your own people. See, in the mother country, they know how to deal with it. Everybody else get to know how they deal with it. But us, we got to take it because we're not really in control. I'm not here to advocate for violence or none of that. I'm saying this is how other people deal with their shit. You see what they did? They got them and they roasted them up. I already went too damn long. I don't want to go there. Right? So that's how they dealt with it. And that's when the community said that had enough shit, and anybody who's detriment to it, we had to come together. And so those who are the squares of Haiti, we take our hat off to you. Like those the ones that come out, they pick up and they run, and that's what we do. We flee. You don't get no adulation. Those who squares who have to deal with the environment and all the bullshit and all the other parts that come in and trickle in from other people's interests in your land, and then they buy people and they do fuck shit to make it bad on everybody. Sometimes you got to take that justice like they did and to get rid of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Some people say, well, how did they was able to do that? The police had it. Well, probably the police was like, y'all want them? You know what I'm saying? They did what they did. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that's what they did, right? I'm not telling you to go do that. I'm telling you that's what they did, and that would just happen. Yeah, I got you too, right? Right? So that's just what it is, y'all. I mean, I can let you hear these two brothers and sisters who advocate advocate for those in Haiti. The pictures in itself says enough. You don't need no more. And that's how you do it, right? And so how are we gonna ever get it to right? I don't know if we're gonna have to do that. Maybe some people can just come and get their mind right and do right. Or maybe it may get to that level where some things like this may take place. As we Boogie said earlier, as this start to get more into more like them other nations, them North American nations, we might go see a lot of shit like this. Hopefully it never get to that point. But the Most High is the greatest chess player there ever was, will be, shall be, and forever will be. And if that's in his plan, how this gonna work, well, hopefully you got the blood on you so it passes over you. Again, I'm the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. This is We Up Report. I want to thank each and every one of y'all who came over here, who contributed by commenting, subscribing, liking, sharing. Hope that y'all come back again. I hope you come back again. I'm trying to find a better time. It look like this one seemed to be pretty good, so I might try this again. But that's what it is. And so as we get out of here, salute to everybody. Sharon, community policing. That's right, Bree Boogie. And still love. I love you. Love her, and you're welcome. Thanks a lot. And again, I hope to see y'all again real soon. To my next show, y'all. We got a word from Malcolm as we get out, and then we gonna go. Check this out.
You feel, however, that we're making progress in this country and worldwide?
No. I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And they haven't even begun to pull a knife out, much less try and heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the